Ladies and gentlemen, it was worth the wait here for Sportzwire Radio because, boy, we are literally giving you on-the-fly, hard-hitting analysis here because certainly if you're a New York Rangers fan, you got to be happy. If you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, you're probably not so happy. If you're Randy Dillon who's joining us here, you're kind of like in the fence here, kind of on pins and needles. Randy, I've been in your shoes before as an Islanders season ticket holder and being at all those playoff games at the Barclays Center, so I can certainly sympathize here, but we'll get into some of that, maybe some NBA. Definitely want to get to the playoffs there, some Major League Baseball, a contest from Rob Maraska, some shout-outs here for the birthday for our boys from SJC New York, and much, much more here. So happy to be with Justin Gianelli of the Baseball Banter Show, Randy Dillon of the Hockey Fan Show here that we hear from time to time on Sportswire Radio. Chris Pizzea. Chris, congratulations on 50 shows with the Liftoff Jets. Talking Rivals is almost not too far behind, and Billy McInerney of Elite Sports. He's our resident New York Rangers guy, and we're leveling up with my guy, the brute force Brad Weiss, the legendary SJC New York now. Golden Eagle, of course, also from our LI Brew crew, the Long Island Nets and Plainview JFK boys, junior varsity team. And guys, how you doing tonight?
Pins and needles.
I go with Billy McInerney first because I look at Billy McInerney and I'm seeing him and his face just lit up right now. I mean, Billy, first of all, I'll get to some of the guys here. I want to get to the Brew Force on a different perspective in terms of coming back and the mental from both sides. I'll get to that. I'll get to some of the other guys and their thoughts. But I'm going with you here, Billy, first, because obviously you're the Rangers fan. And, a couple of days ago, it seemed like everybody was ready to write the obituary of the New York Rangers after they played in Pittsburgh after Game 4. And here we are now. It's going to be a 7th game on a Sunday. And, boy, going back to Madison Square Garden, if you're a Rangers fan, you couldn't ask for anything better. And it's a team that in recent memory has won, coming back from 3 games to 1 a couple of different times. So set the tables for us, Billy, on how we got here into Game 7 for the New York Rangers against the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round here of the NHL's Stanley Cup playoffs.
Thanks, Don. Yeah, obviously, I'm very happy right now. I'm definitely riding a high, but I think really, and I said in the chat, the Penguins can't control their emotions. Game 5, Evgeny Malkin took a penalty out of frustration, let the Rangers back into the game. Penguins were winning that one. Game 6, Evan Rodriguez gets knocked down by Ryan Lindgren, comes up, retaliates, gets a penalty. That leads to the Rangers' first goal. The Penguins look good, even without Crosby. They look like the better team, but they've just not been able to keep their emotions, keep their heads on straight. They haven't been able to play the game. They haven't been able to stay at the penalty box, taking penalties that you cannot take in the playoffs. You can't take retaliation penalties. You can't take a penalty as zone behind the play, throwing a hit because you're frustrated that you're not scoring. In a playoff game, that's going to hurt you, especially a team that relies on their power play as much as the Rangers do. So, I think that's really been a big key. And then taking advantage, Louis Domingue, look, he's a third string goalie. He's doing everything he can, but there's a reason he's a third string goalie. And, you gotta just pump shots on net when you got a guy that in goal. That's what the Rangers did those last 10 minutes of the game. The goal that put the Rangers ahead 4-3 was just, he was a little scream, but that's a brutal goal to give up in a playoff game.
Very much so here, and obviously the emotions, and you think about it after the first period, we were all pretty much, all right, well, Penguins are going to win here, and it's a foregone conclusion, and all of a sudden I kind of feel where the game changed here is that double minor where the Rangers scored, and I thought that was really where the game turned around. Walk me through that, Billy, before I get to some of the other guys here.
Yeah, I actually go back a little earlier in that period when the Penguins got a 5-on-3 for about a minute and 5 seconds. The Rangers killed off both penalties of that. You felt like that was really, from there, you felt they had more jump in their step. They were playing better. Adding Tyler Mott back to the team, I know he's a fourth liner, but he now gives them a high-end skater on all 4 lines speed-wise, where they can now play that stretch breakout game that you need to play against the Penguins. The Penguins, they forecheck aggressively, so you have to be able to get the pucks out behind their defense and skate into them. And adding Tyler Mott helped with that so much. He was able to pressure quite a few pucks, keep players alive. I don't want to overstate how important he is because he's only a fourth liner, but I think he makes a huge difference. Now you have, Chris Kreider and Frank Vetrano on line 1, Artemi Panarin on line 2.
Frank Vetrano has had just an incredible run for the Rangers, by the way.
Yes, he has. It's unfortunate that they won't be able to keep him past this year, I don't think. That can be a problem for later. But you have those 2, Panarin on line 2, Hedl on line 3, and Mott on line 4. You have a legitimate elite speed skater on all 4 lines now, and opens up the ice for the Rangers in the way that they needed to. So I think he's been a huge addition at the trade deadline and re-addition after missing most of the last few months with injuries.
No question about it. I want to bring in here Randy Dillon because we haven't heard from Randy here live on Sportswire Radio in a while. And Randy, I know you're kind of like watching with 2 screens in a bated breath in your own point. And I can sympathize with you, Randy, because I've been there. I've been in those playoff games. I've been there live and up close recently with the Islanders. So I've been there, so I can sympathize. But, I mean, walk me through this Rangers-Penguins series and how you think it's where it is. And, I mean, it's a clear momentum swing that I think most people definitely did not see coming.
Oh, 100% a huge momentum swing. You go back to what Billy said about Tyler Mott. If you go back to the 2020 bubble when he was Vancouver, he was an impact player for that team. So definitely Tyler Mott's speed did play a factor. I think the other thing was Shesterkin getting that first goal and then killing off that 5-on-3 with a huge turning point because PPG Arena, it was a house of horrors for him. I think didn't finish the last 2 games, already allowed.
How about
goals.
those Igor chants there? I mean,
so I think one he was able to finally settle down. That definitely was a huge break there, and also I think as well, like eventually I think you gotta give credit to the Penguins where they were able in game 3 and 4 to really shelter Louis Domingue. I felt this game they didn't really do a good enough job sheltering him because unfortunately with him, you don't know what's going to happen when he hit the puck. And I remember in game 3, the Pens, all they tried doing was getting that puck out. This puck was close to the net and they just didn't get in time. And that's a goal you can't let in. And right now it's all New York here. Even with Crosby going back in, the only way I can see the Penguins, because if Tristan Jarry is 50% ready, he's starting game 7. I got to think at this point because you can't go back to Domingue after that.
Hey, listen, I still wouldn't count out the Penguins because you know what? They did get to a 3-1. I know right now sports swings change drastically here. They change pretty much like the equivalent of my crypto account right now, my mutual fund account. But hey, listen, things can certainly come back here and quicker than a New York minute. So I would definitely never count out the Pittsburgh Penguins or anybody. But I want to get to the Brewforce Brad Weiss from a different perspective, not so much on how we got here, and I'll get to some of the other guys in a second here. But the Brewforce, I want to bring up you here in the chat because you were a player most recently. You've been a coach, and I've covered you, obviously, getting into the postseason, getting on a run here with our SJC, I guess now New York Golden Eagles. I'm going to keep calling it SJC. I guess we can still say it's SJC at this point, but that's here nor there. But walk me through right now both the Rangers and the Penguins locker rooms. Walk me first right now what's going on in the Penguins locker room, because obviously you're deflated. Obviously you're looking at it like you should have had this, especially coming in here the way you dominated. So walk me through how you try to put that past you to come to Sunday night back at Madison Square Garden, and then conversely play me the role of the Rangers locker room, because you've been there with SJC getting hot down the stretch that 2017 year, getting into the postseason. So you've been in that position of the Rangers. So give me kind of the perspective of both camps to kind of put us to where we are and maybe give both sides a chance here in winning on Sunday.
Yeah, well, you know, the one word I'm going to start with using, especially in the playoffs, is momentum. And right now, obviously, the New York Rangers have that. And listen, there's ups and downs in the playoffs. And to me, the most even-keeled team, the team that could overcome adversity quickly, is the team that is able to win a series. And, you know, for the Rangers' sake, I mean, it's a credit to them. I mean, you know, obviously the tough game 1 loss in triple overtime. And, you know, then they go and win game 2, but struggle in Pittsburgh. And then they come back. You know, listen, it's hard to come back 3-1. And, you know, you come back, you get a game at the Garden. Then tonight you go down 2-0. And then come right back 2-2. You know, you go up 3-2, and then it was like,
I was going to take a nap for 20 minutes, and then I saw, okay, boy, it's now a game. It's 2-1. I got to stick with this. So I mean,
yeah, I mean, you know, and then you know, you go up 3-2. They come right back, and it's 3-3. And then you know that's right there. It's like which team's going to score the next goal, and which team's going to take over. And the Rangers, you know, to their credit, did it. And you know, crazy way, you know, it hits the goalie's glove, and it goes over him, and then goes in. That was wild. But, you know, it's just a credit to the Rangers' resiliency. And right now, like I said, momentum's the key. You know, Pittsburgh had the momentum early in the series. I think the Rangers have taken it over. Now, with that being said, when it gets to the locker room, right now, obviously, you're the Rangers. You're high. You're feeling good about yourself. But you have to understand that Game 7, it's anyone's game. and you got to come ready to play. You have the momentum. You have all of this going with you right now, but you still have to be even keeled. You still have to prepare the same way. And when you get to, Pittsburgh, you just got to move on. You got to move on. You got to get to the next game. Yeah, it's going to be tough tonight, but tomorrow's a new day. You got to go back to the film. You got to get ready for the game, and you got to find a way, hopefully for the Penguins' sake, to get Sidney Crosby back, because obviously that was a big subtraction. But, again, that is going to be key for Pittsburgh to move on from this loss. I know it's tough. They're 2 straight tough ones, but move on. Get back to the film. Focus on Game 7, because it's a Game 7, as we all know, and like Keith Engel says perfectly. Game 7, there's nothing better than it in the sport. And it's
absolutely. I mean, listen, this is what you want. Do or die, right? Winner takes all. I mean, this is definitely in sports. It's definitely what you hope for in here. And I'll say this to Brute Force. I don't think if I'm a Penguins player, I'm watching any film right now. I think what I'm doing is getting a good night's sleep, sleeping the whole day, not even listening to talk radio out there in Pittsburgh, not listening to WKDA or anybody else out there, no one the stations out there. I think I just forget about it, put it all like it never happened, and just go Sunday, get there, and just let the chips mate where they fall. So obviously great stuff there. Also want to bring up a comment from Anthony J. Finkel. It's a full house Friday night sports night with the boys. Best night of the week. Certainly, I would agree. And of course, Anthony Finkel, got to give him a shout out because he's having a birthday celebration coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow in May 28th. That'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow. And of course, not quite my neck of the woods, but sort of near my neck of the woods, of course, in beautiful Marine Park, Brooklyn, at the Marine Park Golf Course, right off the Bell Parkway, exit 11N, right, Anthony? I'm pretty sure of that. So looking forward to being there. 10:30 it'll start. I don't think I'm getting there 10:30, but I'll definitely get there at some point in the afternoon. So looking forward to celebrating Anthony Finkel's birthday. And of course, Anthony Finkel has been through a number of the Sportswire radio shows because he's actually been going back and forth with some wrestlers out there. So he's hopefully make sure you pick on some people that you can definitely be competing with at the golf course on the 28th of May. But that's here nor there, Anthony. Thank you for tuning in as always. But I want to bring in Chris. Obviously, Chris Pizzea does a great job for us. Congratulations, Chris, once again on 50 shows with the Liftoff Jets. And enjoy listening to the show a couple of different times with Andrew Golden and obviously talking Rivals. But, I mean, 7th game here. I mean, there's got to be a way here if you're a Penguin. I know I got Billy, I got the Rangers take, I got Randy's little perspective, but you have to look at if you are a Penguins player, even a fan, there has to be something there because I'm trying to give both sides a shot here. I mean, can the Penguins win Sunday, you think, Chris?
I think it's possible. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen the road team come back and win that Game 7. I think they need, obviously, without Crosby, it's going to be I think a huge uphill battle. I think if Crosby comes back, they'll have a shot. The big thing is, for me, is you got to score early, right? Try to get the crowd out of it, and then you put all the pressure on the Rangers. Because when you go into a Game 7, it's up for grabs. Anything's going on, but I think it's the team that gets that early goal to put the pressure on the other team. At least what I've seen in previous, we've seen in previous Game 7s. That would be my thing, like just try to get the crowd under control, try to get that early goal, and maybe that'll work. And cross your fingers that Crosby will come back. If he comes back, then
he was dominant early in this series. I mean, he had 3 multi-point games, I think, in the series.
Yeah, we've seen it in Game 5. Once he went down, that's when the Rangers scored their 3 goals. So I think he's a big X factor here. If he comes back, obviously, it becomes a different game. So we'll see.
I think the concern here, if you're a Penguins fan or player, is that you've now blown back-to-back games with 2-goal leads.
Yes.
So you automatically really should have won this series. Frankly, you could have won on Wednesday. But at the same time, conversely, if you're Billy Mccann, you got to be feeling great right now. You got to be feeling so great that maybe even consider shelling out, I don't know, $400 a ticket maybe for the nosebleeds on Sunday? What are they going for right now on StubHub? I'm even afraid
Probably
to look
more
right
than that.
Oh, man. I'm afraid to look, too.
Because I remember going to the playoffs in the second round for the Islanders, and the tickets were a lot. But the Rangers are going to be double what it was when I went to the playoffs back in 2016 and 2019. So I can only imagine. But, Justin, I know you're definitely feeling the pinch a little bit here with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'll get to Randy. I want to get the Capitals and Panthers thoughts here for a brief moment or two. But, I mean, I mean, what do you think here? I mean, in one sense, I mean, Game 7s, I'm trying to think here, Game 7s of note, most notably for the Rangers, and I'm pretty sure 2015 may come to mind, Lightning Rangers conference finals, where it looked like the Rangers had clear momentum after Game 6, and Tampa pretty much shut the door early, so maybe that's what it's got to be for that kind of performance, but you definitely don't like what you've seen from the Penguins blowing Game 5 a 2-goal lead, Game 6 a 2-goal lead, and then obviously this last goal here that Mika Zibanejad scored here, which is credit here, thanks to Billy for that. That was very much one of those you're going to definitely want back there with 1:28 left in regulation. So walk me through, Justin, some of these things in your perspective going into Game 7 Sunday night.
Let's all be honest with ourselves. The minute Sidney Crosby went out of the game in Game 5, the Rangers advanced to round 2. Let's just put it the way it is.
Okay.
I mean, I'm calling a 5-0, 6-0 Ranger win on Sunday.
Wow, Justin, you got to give you a little bit more optimism.
I mean, look, the Penguins are dead. They're undisciplined without Sidney Crosby. They took too many stupid penalties, both in Games 5 and Game 6, and they just don't have any composure. And you're playing with a third-string goaltender who, if you put pressure on him, he'll give up 5-6 goals. So, I mean, the Rangers are the better team. They're going to come out flying in Game 7, and they're just going to wipe the floor with the Penguins, and they're going to advance to round 2. I mean, it's just as simple as that. The Rangers are a much better team.
You still don't think, though, Game 7, you're going to still try to come out and play with some intensity? Still is Game 7. I mean, this isn't – listen, we all thought, that the Rangers were going to even have a hard time winning Game 5. I was listening to talk radio here in New York, and overnight, it was like Ranger fans were already basically saying, let's get rid of Gerard Gallant and Barry Trotz is available. I mean, so, things change, so you can't.
Listen, of course, Pittsburgh's going to try to come out fast, but I just don't see them winning. I just don't see them winning in that building in Game 7.
That's certainly fair. Obviously, that place is going to be definitely loud. It's going to be louder there than probably a Billy Joel concert and an Elton John concert and whatever else concert you can think of. It's going to be louder than probably all of that times 10. And Randy, obviously, you got the Capitals jersey on, and for a few minutes, give me thoughts on the Capitals-Panthers here, because that's another series here that is going to go down the wire while we have you here for a little while we talk some hockey before we transition in a little bit.
I would have to say this has been a very surprising series because I know a lot of the analysts were saying Florida in 5, maybe in possibly for Washington they'll win that one game, but this series has been really tighter than expected. A lot of bounces have gone each team's way. I think the big thing what's going to end this series is going to be goaltending. On can Bobrovsky step up his game, which he has shown tonight, or if you're going to look at the young goalie Samsonov, where his numbers this year were ferocious. He gave up a weak goal just recently to tie the game at 2-2. And for me, for Washington, the concerning thing I think for them, this is a veteran team that had made mistakes that had cost them games. You look back to Game 4 where they couldn't get the puck out, hit the empty net. The Panthers come back and score. Game 5, a couple of times couldn't get the puck deep, and the Panthers come down the ice and score. So Florida had the firepower. They do have some experience in playoffs as well with some players. But I think at the end of the day, what this series is going to come down to, if Florida wants to win or Washington wants to force a Game 7 win, it's going to be which one of these two Russian goalies are going to step up and take it from here.
Well, we'll certainly find out here, and I just want to also let everybody know that we are now on sportnarium.com/player. So if you're sick of looking at our mugshots here, you can also listen to us on sportnarium.com/player. So obviously, for those that have been tuned in there, thank you for that. And also thank you for everybody that's tuning in all of our different platforms as we are up on all of those things here. I want to bring back in the Brute Force Bradweiss because to me, this is fascinating from a different perspective. And I get we're going to get some people on here that's going to say rah-rah Rangers. Some people are going to say rah-rah Penguins. And we're all trying to decipher it. But now give me the coaching end of it here, the Brute Force, because you're a coach now. You've also played for a couple different coaches that are very high profile, and Kevin Span and Mike McSloy. So, I mean, walk me through them. If you're the coach right now of both these teams, I mean, what are you saying, if anything? I realize it's professional athletes. It's different than when we cover college basketball or you with high school players. But, I mean, do you say anything? What do you do here in this point? Because we're going to be roughly, I'm assuming, we're going to be less than 48 hours till puck drop. So if you're the coaches right now of both these teams, Mike Sullivan and Gerard Gallant, what are you saying, if anything at all?
Yeah, well, first of all, you're asking the wrong guy whether you're going to say something. You guys all know the big mouth that I got as a coach. You know I'm saying something. That's for sure. You know, whether you win or lose, I'm always going to talk something. But obviously, it's two different approaches. When you win, you want to continue to motivate your players. But like I said earlier, at the same time, you want to keep them even keeled. You don't want them to get too high, right, to where they're starting to feel themselves too much. You know, Dallas Cowboys style, start feeling themselves and then collapse in the last game. You know, so really, you're just trying to keep your team even keeled. You're trying to motivate them. At the same time, you're also trying to, you know, take what you did, right, celebrate it, and then move on from it. Now, if I'm the Pittsburgh Penguins coach, Mike Sullivan, listen, I'll be honest with you. After the last two performances, you know, everybody here, all our great hockey analysts here, talked about their terrible penalties and some of their really bad mistakes and some of the things that you got to rip the team. You got to tell them, listen, this is not acceptable. We've done this 2 straight games. We do another game, we're going to lose game 7. So you really got to get on your players when you lose games the way that the Pittsburgh Penguins have with these leads. So ultimately, you know, it's 2 different approaches. But one, you know, both coaches have to be ready to go in game 7. Both coaches have to make sure they have their teams as prepared as possible because, listen, this also comes down to, right, when it's a game 7, you know, the teams know each other so well. There's so much preparation you could do. There's only so much game planning you could do. But it comes down to which team's going to want it more, which team is going to be more disciplined, like the guys said. And the coaches have to reiterate that message that you have to be disciplined, you have to learn from these mistakes, and you really – listen, it comes down to effort. It comes down to who wants it more in a game 7. It's not about the X's and O's. It's about who wants it more, and the coaches have to make sure they reiterate that message. So, and again, you know, I'll just talk about right now quickly. I just coached 2 straight nights, and I had leads in both games and lost both of them.
Oh, boy, you definitely have something to count. And did you coach tonight, by the way?
You have to understand. I'm sorry, Tom. What did you ask me?
Did you coach tonight, by the way?
I did, and we had a 6-point lead with 5 minutes to go and lost by 4. So,
oh, boy.
Listen, you have to be disciplined. You have to make sure your players are not feeling too good about themselves because I'll say it from tonight with my guys. We felt good going up 6, and then we scored 3 points in the last 5 minutes and lost the game.
Oh, my God.
So, listen.
You're even on the stream tonight. 3 points in 5 minutes. That means you had 1 possession in 5 minutes out of like 10 you scored out of.
Yeah, I saw a lot of misses and a lot of mistakes, just like the Pittsburgh coach saw. So, but like I said, you know, as a coach, yes, you got to be upset about it, but you have to move on because this is do or die, and ultimately there's another game to be played, and you just got to get it done in game 7.
That's all you can do. At the end of the day, it's one game. At the end of the day, you got to put everything out the window. You're still in this situation. You're still here. You're still there. Anything can happen. I wouldn't count out both teams. And I said this before. Listen, game 7, I'm happy about it. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a Rangers fan. As you can tell, I'm an Islanders fan. I'm wearing my 2016 Islanders playoff shirt for whatever reason. I have no idea, but it was the only shirt I could find because I was sweating through. I was doing wrestling for 2.5 hours today, and boy, did I get into it. So I couldn't find the other shirt. This was the only shirt I had. But obviously, that's here nor there. But I want to ask Billy McInerney a different question. I hate to ask this question, and Billy might know what I'm going to say here. And I feel like I heard a lot of this last year after the Islanders beat the Penguins in the playoffs, and certainly after the Canadiens beat the Penguins, and after the Islanders beat the Penguins in 2019 and swept them in the first round. And I know it's an unfortunate circumstance because Justin might be right in the fact that without Crosby, there goes the series. I'm not ready to say that yet, but Billy, you know this a lot better than anybody else. If the Penguins lose on Sunday, and I hate going with these hypotheticals, you might know where I'm going, but if the Penguins lose on Sunday, is that the end of Mike Sullivan as head coach over there at the Pittsburgh Penguins?
I don't think it's the end of Mike Sullivan's tenure with the Penguins. I think, winning 2 cups his first year has brought him some leeway. I think
a lot of early round exits if they lose here Sunday. It's 4 consecutive.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he'll at least be given next year, at least start next year. I mean, granted, Dan Bosman got fired midseason. I'd say a midseason firing next year is more likely. If we're going to go hypothetical, though, I do think this could be the end of Evgeny Malkin's run with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Good point.
He's a free agent. He struggled to stay on the ice. You know, I don't know what they're going to be willing to pay him, you know, and where he's going to go. Does he go somewhere else in the league? Does he go back to Russia where there's no salary cap? You know, he has options. I just don't know what it's sort of like, you know, to compare to baseball, sort of like Aaron Judge with the Yankees, you know, when he's on the ice, he's a great player, but you know, how much does he play?
Hey, Aaron Judge is looking good so far right now on turning down the $213 million. I got to say, so far he's looking pretty good. And we'll get to that in about 25 minutes when Rob Marassa comes on here. We'll definitely get into that. So for sure, we'll definitely talk some baseball.
So I think Sullivan's pretty safe. He's also like.
Are you sure though? Because I mean, we heard it last year on Twitter.
I totally disagree with Billy.
Jump in, Justin, because I knew this would be a hot topic.
Yeah, I disagree with Billy. I think that they're going to want, you know, with, you know, like Billy said, that Malkin being a free agent. You know, you also have Chris Letang and I believe Brian Rust as well. You know, there's a lot of key free agents on this Pittsburgh Penguins team. They might start turning the roster over, and you know, they might just go in a different direction with the head coach here. You know, just a team like them with the leaders, with the leadership of Crosby, with the veteran presence, this is not a team that should be losing. Should not be losing in the first round.
It's several years now. I mean, you look at, yes, I agree, Billy, the 2 Stanley Cups, but I don't know. I mean, listen, the Islanders got rid of Barry Trotz. I know it's a different situation, but he got to back-to-back conference finals for the Islanders, and nobody really saw that one coming. And Gerard Gallant in the past has been a victim of that circumstance as well here. And so we'll certainly see here what happens. And Justin, also, I got to bring it up. I know that we got some Mets tickets for sale on Sunday. You want to throw that out there? I mean, there might be somebody listening to this or watching it, or Rob Marasco comes in a little while and says, oh, boy, Justin's got some first place Mets seats available here for Sunday.
Yeah, I can't get the Sunday's game, and I don't know why, and I don't know what the exchange rule is on the Mets website. I tried to exchange it for another game, and it wouldn't let me. I guess you got to do it within like 48 hours or 24 hours. Well, no, the game's Sunday. I guess within 48 hours. So, I mean, I should be tagged on your post. You could just click on my link and direct message me. I'll hit you up with details for Sunday's game.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly, the Brute Force, if you're interested, there might be some tickets there waiting for you Sunday. I think the weather's supposed to be nice on Sunday. Now, tomorrow's supposed to be like so here in the New York area, but I know for tomorrow it's not so great. But Sunday looks good here.
Funny, I'm surprised I didn't run into the Brute Force today.
Could I ask Billy a quick question before we move forward?
Sure, and I was going to get somebody else's perspective on
Billy. Why haven't the Rangers named the captain?
Good, that's a good question, because we heard that during the game on the TNT call. Walk me through that, Billy.
That's a great question. They haven't named one since they traded Ryan McDonough. I'll be honest. When they extended Chris Kreider, I expected them to make him the captain. At this point, my honest guess is they want to give it to Alexis Lafreniere, and they wanted to wait until he was a little more established. He was only in his second year, but certainly from where they drafted him, they are hyping both his on-ice ability and his leadership and his being a genuinely good guy off the ice. So I'm starting to wonder if the plan isn't give it to Alexis Lafreniere next year when he's in his third year. He's having a breakout postseason. That whole line, not going to look great. But, yeah, it's interesting. I thought for sure they were going to name one this year. Gallant said they were going to name one this year, actually, come to think of it. And they just never did. I thought Kreider or Trouba would get it.
Kreider would make sense because he's pretty much been the Ranger guy the last few years. He's been that guy.
Makes sense.
But doesn't he take
what
some
about
games
the
off,
manager? Because they've been talked about him being captain. Thing he had all the qualities as well.
There was. I could see him. Kreider makes the most sense. He's been there for a decade. He signed, for 5 or 6 more years. And I mean, for better or worse, he's not going there. It's not a contract that I think is really going to be traded. So, I actually kind of thought they were going to name him the captain going into the playoffs after he had a 52-goal season. Panarin doesn't want it. He's been vocal about that. He does not want the captaincy on his sweater. But Kreider's a Banjad, Trouba. I think they're all options. I still think Alexi Lafreniere is a dark horse to be the captain. So it's interesting. I think they maybe just said they have a good leadership group without naming a captain. We've seen teams do it. The Minnesota Wild went a few years without a captain. They actually rotated it like monthly among players. But at this point, I'm
that affects
not holding it for Lafreniere.
You think that affects anything not having a captain? I think in hockey, a captain is so more important than in any other sport. Do you think that's affected them at all since they are a young team?
I don't think so. I think in general, you kind of see the leadership group develop regardless of who wears the letter. Ryan McDonough wore the captaincy for 3 or 4 years. He was not someone that you would describe as a vocal leader. He was more of an on-ice leader. Certainly, Ryan Reed just stepped up as a leader in the locker room, and he's not going to wear a letter for them. So I think it can make a difference. I think on a team like this that has so many veteran players who have been on good teams. Kreider was here for the Rangers Cup run back in 2015 or 2014. Sorry, Panarin made some runs with the Blackhawks. Goodrow won 2 cups with Tampa. Trouba had some runs with Winnipeg. So they have guys who have played in the playoffs before. I don't think they necessarily feel a need to have one guy stand out as captain. But yeah, I do expect that at some point we're going to see a captain named. I just don't know when that's going to be at this point.
Kind of interesting.
I'll tell you one thing: there's never been a team to win a Stanley Cup without a captain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we might see if we'll test that scenario here if the Rangers do advance and go further in the playoffs. And I'll tell you one thing: last year and the year before, I remember covering the Rangers, and you looked at it and said, "Oh, this team needed a veteran presence. They needed more depth. They needed more physicality," and they've done that pretty quick. They've built this team nicely on the fly. And Randy, I saw last I checked here, it was 3-2 Panthers with about 3 minutes left. What are we at right now so I can, almost get a play-by-play thought from you on that?
So it's 3-2 with 1:38 left. The Capitals pulled their goalie. Florida's buckling down, and Bob he's been standing on his head today for the Panthers. He's been undermanned, and both Ekblad and Sherratt got banged up, left the game, came back. So he's really done his job, and
we just got a penalty.
We got a penalty on who?
Washington. Florida's going to the box, so it'll be basically a 6-on-4 with the empty.
So Washington, my feet's unfortunately a little bit.
Oh boy, that's if you're the team that took the penalty, because I've seen that before in person. Boy, it's almost like you have a stomach ache if you're on the ice. If you're that's almost like if you have a stomach ache and can't go to the bathroom. That's right now the Panthers in this position.
Yeah, you're looking at one player. You're looking at Ovechkin's one-timer right here. You want to make the difference. Well,
you got the one player. Listen, you got the
that's it. That's all you need. All you want is get it to Ovechkin.
That's like having Steph Curry in the NBA. That's like having Mike Trout.
Look, everybody knows it. He's got a certain spot he loves to shoot from, and he's always open.
He's always open.
He's always open.
How is
that
possible?
Earlier in the series,
he's the best goal scorer.
I don't understand. He's always there. And
he literally has a spot on the ice called Ovechkin's office, and he always scores from there.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, as somebody who watched about, 90 to 100 games live for about 3 years, there was only one player that my heart went like this from, Ovechkin. Anybody, it was Crosby, McDavid, anybody else, Kane, Taves, Eichel, anybody else, it was Ovechkin. There was the one guy that I would sit and I would go, oh boy, and then I would go like this.
Minute 9's going to be fascinating here.
Yeah, it's going to be
minute 9's going to be fascinating.
Intense minute. Yeah, no.
That's going to be the longest minute 9 seconds if I'm on the ice right now.
You're a Panther fan. Oh my God. You are.
Well, he's a Capitals fan. How do you think he feels right now, Randy?
I've been through worse than this. So for this,
that's a goal.
We got a goal.
They scored.
Washington's
tied.
tied.
You're a Capitals fan. You should know if they scored.
My feed, NHL live feed 30.
Yeah, and then we got a brawl.
30 seconds behind, so oh my God. But you know what? It's good. Honestly, my opinions after Game 5 were not high because one, like I said, this is a veteran group here. What they did in Game 5 should not happen where you have that many players winning a Stanley Cup and what they did, and with a coach like Laviolette as well, who's experienced and know what he's doing there. So definitely, my hopes today had not been the highest, but the fact that they got it tied at this point is a great.
Hey, you tied the game. I mean, all of a sudden, you got what you wanted. I mean, you got
exactly.
maybe some optimism, Randy.
I just watched it. I love
here.
Ovechkin's celebration. Like everyone hugging and cheering, and he's jumping up the ice, not even in the celebration right there.
I don't know if that went in. Looking up,
yes,
there it is.
Yes,
there it is.
Overhead. TJ Oshie gets credit.
Now, Toronto looks at that, not the team, because it's within the last 2 minutes. Am I correct? There's no challenge on that. That goes down to the league.
Yeah, I think it's automatically reviewed.
Yeah, automatically. I'm looking at it right now. Let's see what
they just showed the overhead feed, so you should be getting an overhead.
Yeah, there's no goalie. You can't call that goalie interference because Bob doesn't push. He's the one.
Well, if you asked Billy McInerney last week about goalie interference, he gave you a whole different perspective on that.
Let's not bring up goalie interference.
Well, he's happy right now, Billy, so I don't think he's thinking about that. But certainly, if you were a Rangers fan, I heard all the calls on Talk Radio throughout the week last week. Everybody was pointing to that. But certainly,
I agree with Danny, though. You cannot call that goalie interference.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Have we got it confirmed? Because obviously I don't have a TV screen.
They're still looking at it as we speak.
Yeah, if they call it interference, then you know the league has something to play with.
There we go.
Here's the call.
What do we got here?
We have a good hockey goal.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So I think if you're a Capitals fan, you breathe a sigh of relief.
You got that power play. They scored in 8 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And Ovechkin didn't touch the puck. That's the craziest part.
Yeah, I know. I think the big thing as well, you also look at this series, where Tom Wilson's presence is a huge loss for this team. As much as everyone they can talk about how he's just a thug or whatever, like he does a lot of things right.
No, I think he's one of those guys that's an intangible player. He's, for example, if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not on your team, you hate him.
He's one of those famous
pretty big time goal scorer too this year.
Yeah, he had 25 goals. He's had a great year. So.
All right, so we've got Panthers, Capitals going into overtime. And we've got some other drama in the league also because we've got the Oilers Kings going to a 7th game. That's a very, very intriguing series. That has kind of been almost like a rock'em sock'em robots there. It's just been back and forth there. And at times you thought Edmonton would take clear control. The Kings, I thought, after their own roller coaster winning in Edmonton, they've won 2 games there at Edmonton. You would have certainly thought that they would have had no problem dispatching Edmonton last night, but here we are in a Game 7 there. I mean, we've got the Lightning and Leafs. That's probably, to me, maybe the most intriguing series of them all because, I mean, Toronto, just for whatever reason, I don't know if they're snake bitten. I don't know if they're the Red Sox of the NHL, but, I mean, they just, for whatever reason, just can't win a series. Then you've got, oh, by the way, the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, so you've really got some just fascinating. And obviously Calgary and Dallas that's still going on here, kind of a little bit of a back and forth there. I mean, St. Louis advanced over Minnesota. We saw also Colorado earlier on easily dispatched Nashville, which I think
those two will meet, St. Louis versus Colorado.
That's going to be a fun, hard-hitting series right there.
And pressure's all on Colorado, I think, because that's another team that, hasn't really advanced deep despite having some of the best records in the league here over the past few years.
Yep, and we got Dallas leading 1-0 in the first intermission, and obviously they're the team that needs to win to force Game 7.
And then the other series that's a Game 7 is Carolina and Boston, which to me is another fascinating series because
I believe all 6 have been won by the home team.
Yep. Reminiscent to their Cup Series win in 2011, where they won all 6 of their games, 3 games back in Boston. Game 7 they won in Vancouver. So
unfortunately, you know that partially well because you're out there in Vancouver.
I have nightmares. I had a lot. That took a long time to get over.
Were you there at those games in the Stanley Cup? May I ask, were you there in 2011? Or
I
no?
wasn't. I was living back in Calgary watching the games at home, but just how this series unfolded for the Canucks, it was a series of two tales where at home you played great, other than Game 7, and then Boston.
Was that the year also that Boston came back against Philadelphia? Am I getting that was the year?
That was the year before where they were up 3-0 to Philadelphia, and then they lost.
So that was kind of how it all evened out. I figured something was similar related to that, but Listen, you never know. I mean, Carolina, Boston. I mean, I think most people will be rooting for Carolina, but don't tell the Boston fans that. I will say, for those that are listening and watching this, I think of all the teams I've ever been in a game with the team's fans, the team I hated the most or their fans was Boston's, because Boston's fans were the most brutal. I know, Chris, you've got Patrick Trotty, who's the Red Sox fan, and Patrick was with us before he had other engagements, but the Boston fans, especially the Boston Bruin fans, and they're definitely not fans I would desire to be with. But
the Bruins are certainly, and for me, the Bruins are certainly up there as teams I cannot stand. I hate.
Oh, they're fans. I got to be honest. And I've been to a number of Islander Bruin games. The Boston fans were like.
And there are things I cannot say on here to describe the face of
don't say them, certainly, because we're number one in 5 towns in England. God knows somebody wakes up in England or Barrow and Chorley or Morecambe or anybody else and they hear profanity, and God only knows. So we don't certainly want that here, especially considering the man that used to run this station has gotten himself into a whole bunch of keg of worms on Twitter, back and forth with boxing aficionados, and that was Trevor Lakey. So obviously, we'll certainly keep that to us and plead the fifth on that. But Randy's feeling good here. We're talking some NHL players for another about 10 or so minutes before Rob Maraska comes on here, and he'll give us the winner of his sweepstakes here for the Topps baseball card. We'll get into some MLB playoffs. We'll get into some NBA talk. NFL schedule is out there. I'll try to fit it all in here at once. We'll also have some shout-outs here, and we're on Sportswire Radio. I am the host of the Sports Report in the station, manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. Alongside me is the brute force Brad Weiss, the legendary SJC, now New York Golden Eagle, also the head coach of our Plainview JFK Hawks boys JV team, also with the Level Up Basketball Organization, the Long Island Nets, the LI Brew Crew, making waves basketball, plug to them. So the brute force is a staple and hallmark to the Sportswire Radio family. Billy McInerney, also formerly of Elite Sports. He's a very, very happy man right now. And Justin Gianelli of the Baseball Banter Show. Also, I'm almost so curious if Billy and Justin are wearing the same Mets shirt, but that's a different conversation for a different time. And, of course, Chris Pizzea of the Liftoff Jet Show, celebrating their 50th anniversary episode here on Sportswire Radio. Also, the Talking Rival Show, not too far behind it. Randy Dillon of the Hockey Fan Chat. You've heard a number of those shows here, and I enjoy Randy's Hockey Fan Chats on sportnam.com/player because they're a nice little bridge. He does like a 16 or 20-minute show, and they're great because if I'm going live throughout the week, I can pop in this 20-minute show instead of popping in, a 3-hour podcast like some of the shows that we have. I can say, okay, I can just pop him in for 20 minutes and then, get myself back on track here. So Randy does a great job for us, and we are talking all things here related to the world of sports. If you like what you hear from us on Facebook, we're at Sportswire Radio and sportnarium.com/player 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our content. I've got a comment in here from a very good friend who the brute force and I know very well, and that is also Mr. John Perez. And he says, are the Rangers going to win the Stanley Cup? And I think he answered his own question here. He says, yes, also yes. So, Billy, John Perez is in agreement with you about the Rangers winning the Stanley Cup. But I'm an Islanders fan, so I can't really agree with you.
Yeah, I'm hopeful, but I'm still thinking the Avalanche get the cup this year.
Well, give us some optimism. You keep going down. Win Sunday.
Will the Rangers at least get to the cup? How's that?
It depends on who comes out of the Atlantic. If they get Tampa, I don't like their odds in that matchup. Other than that, I think they can go toe-to-toe with the Capitals, the Panthers, or
do you see them potentially beating Carolina?
Sorry?
Do you see them potentially beating Carolina? Because that's next up. Carolina, Boston.
No, but I could see them beating Boston more easily.
Oh, absolutely. I think the Rangers would honestly. I think the Rangers would steamroll Boston. I don't know if they beat Carolina.
The big thing with Carolina, though, don't forget, there's no Freddie Anderson. He's been out with an injury. I think he's getting closer to returning for the next round. So if he comes back, that also helped the Canes' odds right there. Because
he ain't returning if they don't win tomorrow. So he can be returning on the golf course.
That's true.
He'll be on in 2 weeks in beautiful Marine Park. That's where he's going.
I think tomorrow they'll be okay as long as Rant is in net.
Yeah, he'll start. The big thing with tomorrow's game, I look at everyone's going to have Boston because of the experience. But Carolina, they got them playoff heartbreak as well. Go back to 2019, the sweep against the Bruins in the conference final. The bubble series last year, they they really had a good series against Tampa. Just Vasilevsky was just outstanding. I think a lot of this Carolina team knows this is their time, and I think
they've been kind of on a run here, and I see Rob Maraska is here, and we'll get to him in about 5 or so minutes, and we'll transition for everybody. But that Carolina team, the last 4 years, going back to kind of that Cinderella run in 2019, beating the Capitals, coming back and sweeping my Islanders, obviously, and they've definitely been these last 4 years kind of like on the edge here. They're almost in a sense kind of like the Celtics of the NBA. They've just been all at the doorstep peripherally. They've been kind of like right there, and you almost like have to get through eventually because it's Carolina. It's almost, they've been able to keep these players and have that fan base is locked in, and they usually don't. So they are kind of like on the clock here, I feel like, with Carolina in a sense. That's how I feel.
Carolina, for the Rangers at least, is an absolute matchup nightmare stylistically. They're such a patient forechecking team, and the Rangers want to counterattack. They want to pull your forecheck in and get out behind your defenseman and create offense that way. And Carolina is so patient, they don't over pursue on the forecheck, and that has caused
they don't beat themselves, Carolina. They don't.
Yeah, exactly. And teams that are patient and make you beat them in offense are teams that the Rangers have struggled with. I just don't see it. I don't think the Rangers won any games against the Hurricanes this year.
That goes back the last couple of years, if I recall correctly.
Ever since the bubble, they haven't been able to beat Carolina.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of listen. Carolina's definitely got a very, very strong team, but Boston, again, they've come back and something gives. Randy made that point. It was some really fascinating series. I mean, Edmonton, Los Angeles. I mean, that has been such a helter-skelter, Jekyll and Hyde series. I mean, I couldn't even forecast. Something tells me the Kings could still win there because they've won twice at Edmonton. I mean, I just
Jonathan Quick will be he'll be the key tomorrow for the Kings, and I'm looking at the Oilers. And I think we've seen the best from McDavid. We've seen the best from.
I think I want to see McDavid and Draisaitl just play on the same line because the last 2 games it seems they've done
a lot of double shifting, putting McDavid and Draisaitl together than McDavid having his own line. The trio in Game 6 of McDavid,
Evander Kane,
Draisaitl, and Yamamoto. They were huge against the Kings.
And Evander Kane for me was the key.
Evander Kane too has been big for them.
He's been
this could run either one of 2 ways because either the Oilers could get knocked out tomorrow, or they could be in the Stanley Cup final.
That's exactly how I feel.
Talent.
I don't know. I still have questions about Mike Smith. I still don't like.
Oh yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mike Smith either. But you know what? They've shown the capability of just outscoring you too.
Yeah.
But looking at it the other way with the Kings, I could see the Kings obviously getting knocked out on the road tomorrow. Or hell, I could see the Kings in the Cup final. Because every time they're in the playoffs, they make a run.
I tell you what, I mean, if you're in it's not like I had this conversation with somebody before we move on here. You could be in the NBA playoffs, and we'll get to the NBA playoffs later on. Yeah. And, you pretty much have an idea, right? Who's going to advance and who's not. In the NFL, you kind of have an idea, at least a few teams. In the NHL playoffs, you could be just barely making the playoffs and all of a sudden going around. Listen,
think about it.
Columbus swept Tampa Bay a few years back.
Yep. Think about it. Was there one rational human being in 2012 and 2014 who thought the Kings were going to win the Stanley Cup that year? No.
In 2012, though,
the Kings come out of nowhere.
But that 2012 Kings team was deep. I think if we go back, look at it, and
we're an
look
8
at the
seed,
roster.
Though. Randy, they were an 8 seed.
I know they were an 8 seed. I was watching that series against Vancouver, but the Kings were such a better team than Vancouver. Just the rosters compared to, even if Daniel Sedin, and he didn't start that series healthy, even if he started that series, I still think the Kings would have won because you just look up and down that roster. You had Kopitar, you had Richards and Carter's on their prime. Dustin Penner, you had guys like veterans like Jared Stoll. Like that Kings lineup up and down. You looked at
they had a good run. No, listen, the Kings.
No flaws.
There was a nice 4 or 5 year run with that team where there was a core in place, and they definitely had some epic moments and won a couple of Stanley Cups. But I got to move on here, and I got to go to baseball because I got Rob Moroskin here waiting, and he's waiting forever because he's got a contest and he's got some other things. You're welcome to stay, Randy, or you're welcome to, watch us, or I don't know if we're going to go back into the NHL. You're welcome to do whatever you want at this point. I know you also got Panthers, Capitals, but before we go any further, and I've got a comment here also. Let me read off John Perez's funny comment. Hard to have an avalanche in the summer climate. Sounds like a mud fight to me. Well, it's still spring, though, John. It was like 60 degrees here in New York. So, I mean, it's not quite yet like 90 degrees yet. And so obviously those are things we'll leave at that. But Randy, plug the show. Anything else you want to get on your mind? Anything you want to plug social media so we can keep in touch with you? And I want to turn it over to you before we move on here.
Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, I'll probably be signing off here. If Kate the Capitals loses, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you guys only watching shed a few tears here left.
Yeah, I've been there, man. I've been at playoff games, and I definitely know that.
Social media, you can catch us at Randy Dillon, Dillon DHILLON. You can catch us on our Facebook page, the Hockey Fan Chat. We'll have an episode coming here shortly with our good pal Neil.
Neil, who has got a lot of time on his head, who I got to say, every time make sure is on the Sportswire Radio group, please like my post. He's got plenty of time. If he's telling people to like his tweets, you can definitely get him on your show. No, we love Neil, but that's just,
we'll have a conversation about the Devils and their future here in the next few weeks. We'll have that out there, and I'll be doing hopefully some more episodes about the playoffs. Thomas, I appreciate, guys. Great chatting with you. Hopefully we'll do some more soon. Have a good night, everyone.
You're always welcome anytime. Listen, next Friday, same place, same bad channel, same time. So link is there for you, bro. You're always welcome. You know that. I've known you a long time. All right?
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
We'll definitely do that here. And that is Randy Dillon, of course. We'll remove him. Randy's got a big game coming up here. Let's move on here to our longest tenured analyst, Rob Maraska. In the meantime, want to give a shout-out, though, to somebody who's up very late, and that is, of course, Dustin Hart. He is a CCW championship star here over in Coverly Championship Wrestling. They have a huge event coming up. That is on May the 27th, the National Coloring Brawl. He is a part of the CCW Underground group, which is feuding with it. It's a long story. I'll get into it another time, but obviously, Dustin, for whatever reason, I don't know if you're an American sports fan, Dustin, but thanks for tuning in. We're definitely going to get you on the show here in the next week or two before the brawl, but thank you for that, and I appreciate his support. And we've got here, and he says here, nearly 4 now, my friend, but worth it. Yeah, I know the time difference. It's 3:38 out there in the UK, so you must not sleep at all. Maybe you really are part of the underground in CCW. But that's a whole other story, a whole other country that will, I couldn't explain it for everybody that's tuned in America. They wouldn't understand it. But Dustin's a big part of things on the station. But Rob Maraska's here, certainly not clean shaven. Certainly looks like he's up past his bedtime. But I know you got a sweepstakes here that you want to plug and a winner for that. So if you want to get into that before we get to the Mets and get everybody back here on the same page.
Yeah, I'll go through this real fast. I just want to congratulate the winner of the Tops Now Mets 5-pitcher no-hitter limited edition trading card, and the winner is Ray, and I think it's Melott of Ansonia, Connecticut. So a Connecticut.
Oh, I've actually been to Ansonia, Connecticut.
Okay, so he's won the card. He's happy about it. I already contacted him. I told him we were going to mention it tonight, and as soon as I get it from Topps, which I got an email, it's on its way, it'll go out to him. So congratulations, Ray.
All right, looking forward to that here, and we have his Twitter handle again, so we can, when we do the clip tomorrow at some point, because I don't know if he's tuning in at this point.
I'll get it to you. I just have his name right now. I think it's
no problem.
Ray or something. So.
All right, so certainly we won't confuse him, though, for Sugar Ray Reynolds, to say the least here. And also a shout-out to the legendary Joe Dell, Sleepy Hollow, says great prize. But, Joe Dell, you didn't win the prize. How is it a great prize if you didn't win it? I mean, that's just a different thought here. But obviously, Mr. Maraska, I had saw Justin's comment in our thread before we got you back on here. And disappointing loss here for the Mets tonight before we bring everybody back in here and go to some baseball. Disappointing thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, the Mets haven't been hitting the last 2 games. They won in Washington yesterday, but they had 5 hits yesterday, 5 hits today, and what a time for Drew Smith to give up his first run. I mean, listen, he's having a great year. He was bound to give up a run, and the Mets just lost a close game 2-1, wasted a nice game by Scherzer.
Yeah, but he was dealing tonight. He was dealing.
He was. And, I just hope it doesn't get to be one of these points where now he's on the mound and they can't score for him.
Well, we're going to find out. Obviously, that was the theme for Jacob deGrom over the past few years, and that was a topic. And I want to bring in the brute force Brad Weiss because now we can transition where everybody's on the same page. I know it's tough sometimes when you do these sports like hockey and basketball. Some people are into it, some people aren't, but baseball is always the good middle ground. Where baseball, it's like everybody's on the same page. This is a good time to talk some baseball and bring in the brute force. I mean, walk me through your thoughts on the Mets. I mean, I know we still haven't lost a series yet, but I was listening to this overnight on the Fan a couple of days ago, and I think it kind of rings true for this team. They haven't quite – I know they're still 10 games over 500 or whatever it is. They're still comfortably in first place, but they're not putting these teams away where they're going on 3-4 game sweeps. They're kind of – they're playing well, but it seems like not that they've hit a wall, but what's your thoughts on some of that and overall impressions of the last team since last Friday?
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously when you play teams like the Washington Nationals, you're hoping for sweeps just because of how much they struggled. But, at the same time, listen, the key for the Mets has been, like you said, Tom, winning every series. And if you continue to do that, that's going to continue to improve your record. So in the end, that's been a major success. Now, I know the last few games the Mets haven't been hitting, but I'm not too concerned personally, really. Now, what I am concerned about, obviously, is our catcher's position. I know Justin's going to get on that in a second. I'm going to let him start that conversation. But, James Mccann is now out 6 weeks. At
Good
least.
ratings. I got to be honest. I ain't missing James.
No, listen, we're not going to miss his bat, but his glove, his ability to throw runners out, and you can't tell me that you should be happy about having Tomas Nido and
Ernest Dove would be happy. Ernest Dove is probably somewhere right now saying Tomas Nido's getting 4 at-bats a game. Listen, he's probably right now the happiest man right now. And I love Ernest, I'm just saying.
I think actually he had a few hits tonight. Out of the 5 hits, I think he had 2 of them. So, Tomas Nido is, listen, if this is his incentive to start hitting, then maybe that's a good thing. But I personally don't think so. We'll see ultimately if the Mets make a move here at the catcher's position. But with the lineup, I'm not too concerned. I know guys like Eduardo Escobar have been pretty cold lately. That's going to change. I think he's too good of a hitter. Lindor's kind of, tailed off a little bit since his hot start, but he's still getting on base. You got guys up and down the lineup that are getting on base and still making things happen. Yeah, the runners in scoring position, we all know is the issue last season. It's been a problem the last couple games. But again, it's a couple games. Tonight's game was a little upsetting because you lost 2-1 to Seattle. And of course, somehow, some way, everybody was all excited about, seeing them go against Jared Kelenic, and he doesn't even come in because he's an option to AAA.
Like 101 right now? I'm serious. Like, what's his
He was
batting
batting
average, really?
140 in the majors, but he's not
with
really
Hurst Golden Bears. Some players on that team could hit better than Jared Kelenic right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a tough time. But ultimately, there was another Met that ruined our party tonight, and that was Paul Seawall, who came in and got a big out in the 7th inning and then got a 1-2-3-8th inning and led them to the win. So Paul Seawall is ultimately the one smiling tonight. But for the Mets' sake, if they can just come out with the next 2 games, just win another series and then continue to win series, Tom, it's a recipe for success. You continue to win series. You're going to continue to improve your record. It might not look pretty right now, but if you're winning series, it's going to help you. And when they do get going a little bit, I know right now they're kind of in a cold spell. When they do get going with their pitching the way that they have, it was encouraging to see Taijuan Walker pitch better yesterday. Carrasco,
good point. Good point.
Carrasco's been unbelievable this season.
Carrasco, I mean, what a godsend. I mean, who would have guessed? Listen, who would have guessed Carrasco?
Yeah, he's been unbelievably good. And you got Scherzer, Bassett. Obviously, the one little concern is McGill over the last 2 starts hasn't been good.
McGill's
but
not been good.
he's still been a solid pitcher, and you can't complain when he's basically your 4th or 5th starter. But he's been more like a 2 or 3 the way he's been pitching for most of these games. So in the end, I'm not too concerned with the Mets. I know it's 2 tough losses here when the Nationals lost.
But even going back to the Braves series, you split with the Braves. Yes, I know they had the great comeback win against the Phillies, but I'm feeling like you should really go on these teams and just sweep them, or you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like
listen, I understand that, and of course you'd want that. Now, to get to that series with the Braves, I was just happy they split because typical season with the Mets, they always find a way to lose series to the Braves early on. and at least they were able to get the split. I know everybody's like, Brad, stop that nonsense with this conservative, we just split. All right. All right, at the
That would be great for the stock market right now. It would be excellent for the stock market.
Listen, we all know this. We get off to a good start, but if we could continue good habits of winning series and bring that into late May, into June, I think we're going to be happy, because what normally happens is we get red hot, and then all of a sudden we start to lose series after series, and then it trickles. Let's continue to win series. Let's continue to find ways to win games, and I think we'll be all right.
Fair points here, and I want to bring into some comments in here that are coming in, and I have somebody else messaging me on Instagram, so let's get to them also. So first thing is, let me get to Dustin Hart. Says, thanks for tuning in. Yes, because we have an announcement for Dustin on Monday's show. We'll do that for when we have on professional wrestling. And Joseph Delamast, a.k.a. Joe Dell of Sleepy Hollow, of course. Why doesn't he tune in as Joe Dell? That way he would just be known as Joe Dell, but that's a inside joke. But he says the only winning record in the NL East and the most wins in the National League is right now the Mets. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, but they're not putting teams away, because I'm going to get to the Yankees in a few minutes with Chris, and I'm looking at the Yankees, and they're putting teams away, and they're doing what they have to do. And the Mets, they're playing well, I guess, but I'm going to throw something out there, and I'm going to go back with Justin Gianelli. And before I do that, Billy McInerney has given us an update that the Florida Panthers have advanced over the Washington Capitals in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, which means excellent reason we got Randy Dillon off, because Randy Dillon really would have been crying. So, I mean, certainly, Rob Maraska, it was great to have you on instead of Randy Dillon right now, because could you have imagined trying to transition to get through that? I would have did it, because I couldn't get through anything, but that would have been a tough transition. But obviously, Billy, we'll go with Billy in a minute, but I want to go back to Justin Gianelli, because he'll get this here. I can't believe I'm about to say this here, because I heard Salicata was going back and forth with somebody on Twitter about this. And right now, after what happened with the Mariners, sending down Jared Kalenic, looking at what's happened with Robinson Cano, I can't believe I'm going to say it. I'm going to get torched from about to say, but is it really right now that the Mets actually did come out from the better end of that trade, bringing in Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano? Is it really? I mean, say it isn't so, or say it is so. I mean, do the Mets right now look not so bad after all with that trade?
I mean, the way Edwin Diaz is pitching, you could definitely argue that. And right now, I know Robinson Cano just signed today with the San Diego Padres, but think about it. The only player impacting either the Mariners or the Mets right now is Edwin Diaz. Jared Kalenic off to a 140 start with the batting average. I
saw 173 in 129 games in the major league.
He's batting 173 in his 123 career games between last year and this year. So he's really struggled coming up. Justin Dunn got traded to the Reds. He's now hurt over there too, so he's not even a Mariner anymore. And then the other guys were some throwaway guys like Jay Bruce, Anthony Swarzak. Those guys were just throw-ins and some money deferral. So I mean, you could definitely argue that.
I can't believe I'm even throwing this out there. I can't believe I'm even saying it.
It was still a bad trade. You know why?
Why? Tell me why. Because I want to know why. Tell me why.
All right. Well, no, two reasons. Because you gave up the top prospect.
Right.
I'm talking about before, as it happened, not now.
Right.
You gave up the top prospect and you took back the bad contract.
Right.
You do one or the other, right? If you're taking a bad contract back, then you say, okay, I'm not giving you my top prospect. I'm giving you maybe number 10 on my list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I think they made the mistake. But yeah, and Diaz, let's face it took him a couple of years to whatever you want to say, settle into New York or whatever, because he was kind of rough, right? I mean, he was bad, then good, then bad, but he's doing good now. So it's over and done with. So who cares at this point? But I think in the beginning, I would say they lost it because you took back Cano's contract, and that shouldn't have happened. It should have been one or the other. If I'm taking back Cano's, I'm not giving you my number 1. I'm giving you my number 10.
So it's still a bad trade then, to make it clear. Still a bad trade?
Not great.
Yeah, it's not
great.
Not great trade. Yeah, because
not great.
You're not, because I knew this was a good topic. I knew that everybody would really want to get into this.
What have you gotten from Diaz?
Yeah, I mean,
I agree. I think Diaz has been good, but not great until recently.
The only way this trade is worth it is if the Mets win the World Series and Edwin Diaz is closing it out.
Exactly.
That's it. Then
That's
I won't care what
Oh
they gave
boy,
up
wow.
and
Are we
what Jared
dreaming?
Kelenic does.
Mets win the World
No,
Series.
he's
Edwin Diaz gets the final
100%
out.
right. He hit it right on the nail. If
I
they
agree.
win and
All right, Billy. I
he's
see you
closing
want
out
to get
game
in there,
7.
Billy.
That's it. They win.
The asset management wasn't great, but I mean, I used to go back to this trade, and I was talking about this when they were making the trade.
Yep, I think I remember that with you. Go ahead.
Jared Kelenic should not have been the Mets' #1 prospect at that time. I remember when he got drafted, he was like a 50 hit, 45 power, or 55 power, 50 hit guy. A good prospect, but not this incredible uber prospect he was supposed to be. I remember I remember when the Mets drafted him, the talk was, and I felt the same way, was, the Wilpons drafted him to pay him below slot because they didn't want to pay a big bonus out. And then, 5 months later, when he's in this trade, all of a sudden now he's seen as this uber prospect. He didn't do anything in that time to change it. I really think this is a case of just a chance to run with the Lowell Mets making another terrible move. Look, the asset manager, it's not great. I did not want to take his contract, but
Right.
I don't have a big issue with the trade. I've just never been a big fan of Jared Kelenic. I have a much bigger issue with trading Pete Crow Armstrong last year.
Well, that's a good point.
That's
That's
True.
true.
That's going to look worse.
I think Kellenic's. I see kind of a Corey Dickerson career for Kelenic. He's going to be in the majors, going to be productive, but not really going to be a huge impact player.
He's going to be a guy that's going to probably play and get 200 plus at bats a year. A guy that's going to
play regularly, but he's not going to be a building block. He's going to be a guy you bring in when you're hoping to get over he's going to be sort of like what Marcana is, a guy you bring in when you're trying to push the core over.
I don't even know if Corey Dickinson's a better player than Mark Connor. I don't even know if he's on that level, but I see the point. I mean, and John Perez chimes in, of course, our very dear friend John Perez, who did a great job at the John Jay Awards for the athletics program, the banquet dinner that they had, and everybody there. Congratulations to all the honorees there. Congratulations to all the student athletes. And, of course, you can follow the athletics program at JJ Athletics on Instagram and Twitter. They do a phenomenal job. And, of course, John is on the call for pretty much all the sports there over at John Jay College. So huge shout out for John with that. And John says the only way that fans covet prospects, it's comical at times. For every Ronald Acuna Jr., there's 20 Fernando Martinez. I forgot about Fernando Martinez. I'm still trying to forget about Fernando Martinez. Yep. Justin is spot on. I don't think they have to win the World Series, but saving playoff games validates the trade.
He's kind of mistaking what I'm saying, though, because no, they have to win the World Series. This is New York City. This is the New York Mets. It's not about winning a couple playoff games. It's about winning the freaking World Series. And Edwin Diaz has to be on the mound for me to be felt.
And think about how much money you guys have spent on salary this year. It is.
Well, we have an owner now that's decided he wants to spend. I mean, that's just the whole.
I totally agree. Right.
I want to slow you nodding, and I want to get the brute force. I mean,
I wanted to make sure that Ernest Dove was not paying attention to that comment, because I think he would have been heartbroken by the fact that
his heart would have gotten into a heart attack. Not even heartbroken. He would have a heart attack.
But listen, I do want to make a comment on this, because I want to say this right now. I want to reframe this question, because if we're talking about who won the trade on today's date, as of right now, who won the trade? It's the New York Mets, and it's not even close. And we're talking about right now, because listen, Jared Kelenic, and I'm going to give you guys another player.
It is close. It's very close.
I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close. Edwin Diaz. Listen, Edwin Diaz has solidified a closer for the New York Mets, and you got to realize how challenging that is. So as a New York Mets fan, we don't have good closers. We've had a lot of bad closers that not finish games.
A couple of years. What has he done for you guys?
He's given us a solidified close.
Last year he wasn't bad. Last year he wasn't terrible. He had
a solid season. Listen, we all know the first season wasn't great, but he's been solid.
It wasn't great. It was like you wanted to kill the guy. It was
but you know what the last language is? 2019. Being part of that 6 or 7 run ninth by the Washington Nationals in September that basically killed their season.
Yeah, I remember that.
Hot August, they were making a run towards the wild card.
Thanks for bringing that up, Justin. Thanks a lot.
Last year, I was in the building on Labor Day at Nationals Park Edwin Diaz blowing a multi-run lead.
Oh, yeah, I remember being on the air. That was the Monday day where we had, I think, Rob Morosky was on with us, Ernest Dove, and we thought, all right, Mets are going to win. They're going to find a way to hang in there, and all of a sudden, that was where the season broke.
But the thing is, when Edwin Diaz came in the game, I knew they were losing. That's how I have felt with him. I'm finally getting around towards feeling a little more comfortable with him in the ball game.
I'm gonna say you should be a little. You should feel more than a little comfortable, because when the trumpets go on, the trumpets have ended the game. All right, that's what's happened. And listen, again, as a New York Mets fan, we have dealt with many guys who stink in the bullpen, who can't get it done. And ultimately, yes, there was a year that he had to get over New York and he had to go through the struggles. But ever since that, he's looked like a guy who we can trust at the end of the game. And ultimately, as a Mets fan, we have not had this. And you can't even say this. Maybe the one season from J. Reese Familia.
Yeah,
the one season.
2015.
When we haven't had anybody who we could trust. And he looks
Maybe
like
Billy
that.
Wagner, 2000.
And not only that.
I love Wagner. I thought
we're talking about recent. We're not talking about 2006. We're talking about recent.
Up in Mets history when the Yankees had rock solid closers.
Yeah, we ain't going back that far. I don't remember that. I'm talking about right now. Yeah, I'm talking about right now.
Well, you're obviously going to remember all that.
I remember a lot.
Edwin Diaz is not only that, he's young. All right, he's electric. He's somebody you look forward to seeing at the end of the game now. So I think the Mets are at this moment, and again, things could change. Jarred Kelenic can become a stud, and we could be talking different about this. Yeah. But right now, at this moment, okay, the Mets won this trade. I don't think it's close. Now,
that's why I brought it up, because you know what?
Last thing I'll say.
Be some people now that say, you know what? We won this trade because, again, Robertson Cano, he's out of town, right? Jarred Kelenic's a 173 career hitter, right? Jay Bruce, he's probably playing. He can play for the Brew Crew right now. He's available, right, for softball.
We can play. We'll take him.
Listen, we can get rid of Guggenheimer. We'll go Guggenheimer for Bruce. We'll get more power. Listen, he'll be more focused at the plate. I mean, listen, I love Guggenheimer.
I actually got a guy in mind, because you guys mentioned the guy to compare to Kelenic. I got a guy because, listen, Kelenic, to me, he sounds like a head case, a guy who thinks he's,
I know where you're going with this guy.
He thinks he's hot stuff. He thinks he's all that. He was talking about how he needed to be up in the majors, but he wasn't ready. I'm going to give you a guy, another hothead, who's a left-handed batter, and he was a decent player, but he wasn't that great. Josh Reddick. I'm going to give you that. That's the type of player I see in Jarred Kelenic. Yeah. A guy who's a hothead, thinks a lot of himself, decent player, but never going to be that great. And you know what? The last thing I'm going to say is I'm going to make Ernest Dove smile, because, he got depressed.
He's not watching. His girlfriend right now would never allow him to watch us right now.
I'm going to make him smile right now, because I really, and I've seen some video right now, and I really like this kid, Alex Ramirez, in single A. This kid looks like a star.
Yes, we've talked about him on the show. Yes.
This is a guy I think we can look forward to and be really excited for.
All right, so that's good stuff there. Let me get to John's comment. Love Justin's attitude. If they win the World Series, I'll campaign for a Justin bronze statue next to Steve's statue. Well, listen, John, if you want, Justin's selling tickets for Sunday's game. So if you're interested, you could obviously take his tickets. But, Robert Roscoe, I got to get your take. Do you think the Mets have actually won this trade now? Is it far-fetched to even think now that the Mets, as crazy as it sounds, got the better end of this trade?
I agree with the brute force. I really do, because, let's break it down.
All right.
Cano's with San Diego. Now, listen, if Cano has a miracle season in San Diego as a DH and pinch hitter, and the Padres win the World Series, then the Padres won that trade. But other than that, I agree.
That's a good one.
With the brute force. I agree. It took a couple of years. We remember how crazy he drove us on the Sports Report.
Yes.
Okay.
We were going nuts. We were there on the Sports Report.
And then, with us. Okay. And then the short season, the COVID season, again, terrible. And he started, to get it together last year. And now I think he's doing a good job. Like the brute force says, when those trumpets play, the Mets usually win. And that's what matters this year. The past, you know what? We got to forget about it. Like you said, Billy Wagner. Yeah, Billy Wagner. I liked him. He was great that year, except for one thing. the National League Championship Series. Okay, he fell apart. I was at every game at Shea Stadium.
But I think that's the problem with the Mets, whereas Chris is a Yankees fan, right? You got pretty much an uninterrupted run of Rivera. Chapman's been pretty good for the most part, right? So even in Yankees history, Dave Righetti was a great closer. You had Wetland. I mean, you think about it, the Yankees have had, right, almost like an uninterrupted run for the most part, right? The last, 40 years of, lights out or very, very good closers.
Of course, because the Yankees get everything.
Right, but that's my point is, though, is that with the Mets, right, Franco really wasn't a great closer. I mean, he was kind of we liked him because he was blue collar and he was from New York City, right? But he wasn't like a spectacular closer, right? Benitez had spectacular numbers, but he never was good in the big game. Braden Looper was a disaster, right?
Terrible.
Wagner, we had one, maybe two at most good years out of, and then we went through Then we went through a lull of different closers that just couldn't. We had Francisco Rodriguez. Let's not even go there with Frankie Rodriguez. Right? Not even go there with his stuff off the field. Yeah. Familia was okay. I think for 15 was phenomenal. Never really was able to get it together after that again. And then we've had Diaz. I mean,
remember before Familia, it was Henry Mejia.
Yeah.
I'm trying to forget about the Henry Mejia years. I'm trying to forget about hearing his name. Right, that's my point.
I got to say something about Franco, though.
Again, right?
All right, give me the Franco. I'm going to hit the defense on Franco.
Okay, no, I am. Okay, remember, he had the most saves as left.
I know, but all of us here, don't really remember Franco.
I know, but that doesn't matter. It's Mets history. It doesn't matter if you remember.
Well, he was good, but did you really say, in a big spot?
He was a big spot. When the Mets played the Giants in the wild card, he struck out Bonds. I mean, all right. I remember all this stuff.
I know, but you
know what? I'll give you that.
We're looking at you
there's been no scarier hitter than Barry Bonds. I'll give you that.
And they're not. No, because that's Mets history. It's the history.
No, but the point is that would you say Franco was one of the best closers in baseball?
No, but he was good. He was a good closer.
He was good. Look, he's in Met history, and he's New York, and he's loved because he was blue collar. He was this short guy, and he was didn't really have hard stuff.
Most saves lefty.
He pitched forever, and I'm not going to dispute. I actually have a John Franco picture somewhere. Somebody I know was a friend of my father's. Well, I'm sure you got 100,000 John Franco pieces.
Yeah, because I know,
I know, you got the history, but I mean, in Met history, we don't really have we're going through memory lane, and we can't really think of many seasons of great Met season close. That's the point. Chris with the Yankees, they've had an uninterrupted run of just short dominance. That's the difference right now. That's why
I got a question for Chris transitioning into the Yankees, though.
Yes,
I want to ask him a question because listen, we're talking about how good we're feeling when the trumpets are on, but I want to ask him a serious question because I know the Yankees haven't really had to go through it right now because they're beating down every team at this point. I mean, they're playing great baseball, but If let's just hypothetically say Yankees are winning 1-0 and Aroldis Chapman is coming in the ninth inning, how confident right now as a Yankee fan are you in Aroldis Chapman getting the job done?
Not as much. Listen,
I actually have the real question for Chris about Chapman. When Chapman enters the game in the Bronx, what do they play on the loudspeakers? Do they ring gunshots out?
To be honest, I'm not sure what they play.
I don't want to even ask that question. I mean, I also want to give a shout out to somebody watching this here for the first time. That is, of course, actress Susanna Woodhead. I promised I would give her a shout out. Obviously, she took time out of her busy day between, I'm sure, getting ready to be in movie parts and big roles, and she's tuned into us, so I wanted to give her a shout out for a minute. But that's an interesting. Do I want to answer that, Justin, about the gunshots part?
I'll be honest. I'm never going to be as confident as I was when Rivera came in. Right? Obviously, that's obvious.
Undoubtedly.
Chapman's pitched very well this year, so I feel pretty good. But I also know, listen, if he gets into a funk where if he goes a week or two, he starts blowing games. I know we got other options now. Our bullpen is as strong as anybody's in the game. So I'm not so worried if he starts, But he's
And
been
to
good.
interrupt here the regularly scheduled chatting, I got to give a huge shout out to John Gonzalez, who is back because he heard. I told you, hockey, love hockey, but there's going to be people that are all of a sudden going to be like, But when they hear baseball talk, John Gonzalez of the Sports Authorities Group, which is Chris is a moderator, I'm a moderator of, so got to make sure everybody joins that group on Facebook. And he, of course, has a comment directed toward, of course, the brute force, Mr. Bradley Weiss here, and he says. John says, I would like to first of all congratulate the Honorable James Dolan, a man of honor. He put honorable. Is that like allowed in English grammar? I mean, what do I know, right? He says, a man of honor, just like the brute force for getting his hockey team to a Game 7. So, James Dolan, hey, James Dolan's a winner here, right?
Brad.
You like to comment, Brad?
Listen, hold on, all right? Because, listen, I'm happy. Can you just put that comment back up on the screen, please?
Yes,
put
sir.
it back on the screen.
I sure
Put it
can.
back on the screen, all right?
I sure
John Gonzalez, you should be ashamed of yourself. Are you kidding me? Are you calling him the Honorable James Dolan? That does not go together. You can't put the Honorable James. There's no honor in James Dolan. This guy is a disgrace. Billy McInerney knows it too, all right, even though his Rangers obviously are doing well, all right? But Billy, don't bring no James Dolan into this. He's not the reason why the Rangers are winning. And the Honorable, please delete this comment, John Gonzalez, all right? And this is starting to get scary because somehow, some way, when John Gonzalez doesn't comment early in the show, he always finds a way to get something good towards the
to
middle
be
of the
fair,
show.
listen, if I'm John Gonzalez, right, and there are people that are coming in here, right, I see people now liking our Facebook post, and listen, I love hockey. I'm a hockey fan, but, when they hear hockey, it's like crickets. It's crickets. When they hear baseball and they see the brute force talking, all this different stuff, they're ready to go. They're ready to rock and roll, and that's what it is. They saw, listen, people wait. It's like the Canelo fight last weekend, right? It wasn't the most exciting, but when you got that 1 minute, you were all pumped up. You were all ready to go, and that's what it is. John Gonzalez saw the opening. He took it. He ran through it, just like his Detroit Lions.
Oh, we'll get to them later. Actually, I got another hot take on them this week, but just John Gonzalez, relax. A man of honor. Are you kidding me? A man of honor. James Dolan in the same sentence. Come on.
Once again, that's the comment. Just want to bring that up here.
We were having a nice, calm conversation here, and John Gonzalez has to come in and light brute force up a little bit here.
People like that,
Yes,
though.
we
The
gotta go.
listeners like the activity. Trust me. On Sportswire Radio, we had like loads of listeners here because of that, and for whatever reason, here now I'm getting hockey comments in here.
Listen,
now,
when you're trying to put out a fire, John Gonzalez is not the extinguisher; he's the kerosene.
No, people left and right. My very good friend from our neck of the woods, Mr. Rob Moroska here. That is, of course, Billy Mazier here, of course, and Billy is a huge Mets fan also, and for whatever reason, he brings up hockey. He says, one and done for the Capitals. Mika came through in a big way for the Rangers. Always good to be with you, Bill. Bill is a good man, known Bill a long time. He's from our neck of the woods, Mr. Moroska, and Joe Dell, of course, who's here with us. I guess it's the two personalities of Mr. Joseph Delamaster. He says, Joe Dell says, Orozco and McDowell, best bullpen ever. Yeah, but that's like, for us, most of us here on the stream, they're going to look at you with like two heads. I mean, but no question, Jesse. But to be fair, Jesse Orozco pitched till literally 2004 or something like that. So maybe there are some people here that remember Jesse Orozco. So I stand corrected for that. So those are things here I'll get to. And Carlos Chavez says here, John Gonzalez says you're welcome to Brute. So John Gonzalez is definitely happy that I guess you're animated. I can't say you're happy the Brute Force, but I could say that Mr. Gonzalez is certainly welcoming you. So anything else you'd like to say to Mr. Gonzalez of the Sports Authorities Group, Mr. Weiss?
For now, I won't say anything else, but I will say stay tuned, John, because we definitely got more to talk about today that I'm sure you'll enjoy, including my thoughts on the Detroit Lions schedule. I'm telling you, I'm feeling real good about these Lions. I think that this team might actually be one of the biggest surprises in the NFL this season. I'm going to say
I can't wait to hear that. It's going to be in about 20 or 25 minutes or so. And also, let me give a cheap pop to Joe Dell, because Joe Dell actually is an author, and he's got his book here, which he personally gave me, and he signed somewhere in it. So I got to thank Joe Dell for his support, and he's got a whole big thing here. And, thanks, Joe, for your support. I've checked the book. I haven't checked it recently here, but I do thank you for that. So those are some things here we'll get to. But, I mean, in one sense, then, I mean, the Yankees, have to say, I was looking at this here, and I want to bring Chris back in, and we'll move back into some baseball for us. We have Rob Maraska also with us here. You can follow Rob Maraska on Twitter at @rmaraska. But I was looking here, and before tonight's action, the Yankees actually have, I believe, the second best start since the 2016 Chicago Cubs in recent memory. So a week or two ago, people were like, these Yankees, I don't know. And now they're really the hottest team in all of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, their bullpen is probably one of the best, if not the best in baseball. Their their rotation has been great. And their lineup, to be honest, up until the last couple of days, they were getting nothing from about a third of their lineup, right? Donaldson was giving them nothing. The catching position still hasn't given him nothing. And Joey Gallo's giving him basically nothing. And Hicks, add him in too.
Well, Hicks is unfortunately another one of those. He's almost like a Jason Hayward. He's just bad. But you know what? The last couple of days, Donaldson just hit a home run now again. So they're up 9-3. So they're rolling right now, and thankfully, no injuries. Knock on wood, nobody's been hurt, which is a difference for the Yankees. So just kind of taking it week by week. Right now they're just playing great baseball. It's a big improvement from last year. Number one, their defense is dramatically better. I mean, night and day better. Another thing that's improved a lot since last year is their base running. They're actually making smart base running moves out there rather than the last couple of years. They've just been awful. So I think a couple of those two things, and the pitching's been, I hate to say great, but it's been excellent. So, I think it's been good. I was hearing this discussion. That's why I wanted to bring up the Yankees here for a few minutes. And I've got some comments on the Yankees. And I do feel like the Yankee rotation, it's been good. It's definitely been, listen, I know Montgomery struggled a little bit, but Cole looks like he's back. I mean, Nestor Cortez, I mean, just unbelievable run he's been on. I mean, I think it's still a decent rotation. I actually think it might even be a little bit better than maybe even expected here so far. And, of course, John Gonzalez says the Brute Force, you've become very popular in Detroit this week. I saw the comments. Yeah, we'll get to those for sure. I'm excited for that. And Carlos Chavez says here, Yankees still need a pitcher just in case I'm assuming he means Gleyber trade bait. Is that I read this point? Yeah. I think he spelled Gleyber wrong. I apologize to him. But
I don't know if they're going to trade Gleyber.
And Gary Sanchez not being on this team, that helped a ton. Yeah, I tell you what.
Yes.
What's the old adage? Addition by subtraction? That's
absolutely.
Right with the Yankees.
And to get something back for Sanchez was great.
Absolutely. Now, listen, you turned it around and listen, addition by subtraction. I want to get Rob Maraska in because he's obviously got a thought about the Yankees. He's watching these games across town with the Yankees. And give me your thoughts, Mr. Maraska, on the Yankees and their really, really hot run right now where they're on the verge of going to 24-8. I mean, just, the Yankees are just looking right now like they're going to win 100 games this year.
Listen, they are hot, and listen, they're doing better than I thought they were going to do. I heard you say something before I was on about Judge and
the contract.
Yes. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Now, it looks like he made the smart move, but it's only May. And remember, injuries. You got to worry about that.
Absolutely.
We keep bringing up Conforto with the injury. What if he gets injured? But right now, in May, it looks like, he made the right move.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't even put Michael Conforto and Aaron Judge in the same sense. No, I know.
I'm only saying it.
No, but I understand his point.
Injury.
Okay.
I'm not comparing them as players. I'm just talking about the injury. You could use anyone who got hurt.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I bring it up, and plus, that he's prone to injuries too.
Oh, listen, I mean, no question that he's one of these guys that is,
But the Yankees are looking good. Stanton's starting to hit, and I think that it's May. You never know. Subway Series, people are starting to whisper this.
God, stop.
It's only May. I didn't say me, but I'm reading Twitter.
Well, I think the reason, and I heard this.
I'd like the Mets to beat the freaking Mariners. Boy, worry about the Subway Series.
Why I think you're hearing it. Well, we'll get some of the guys and other people's comments. Is when you do think back in recent history, right? The
Yeah.
Yankees and Mets really haven't been in first place or very good at the same time too often, right? 2006, both teams were very good, right? 2015, Yankees were all right. They made the postseason. Mets had their run, 99 and 2000, obviously. But that's it. I mean, for most of us here in our lifetime, I mean, especially myself, Justin, Brad, and Billy, really hasn't been many times you could say, all right, Mets and Yankees have been really, really good at the same time, and this might be. It's early. It's early.
You know what? I hate to throw the wet blanket on everybody, but I'm actually very concerned about the Mets.
So am I, because we got June coming up. June's going to be very tough, and
I think I might start
worried
before
about the
then.
Mets?
This
What are your
offense is
concerns?
not good right now.
I have the schedule. We got the West Coast trip. That West Coast trip.
Listen, I'm worried too. I agree with Justin on that. I'm worried because of last year. We keep bringing it up. The Mets were in first place for 90 days last year, and then boom, nothing. So yeah, Justin, I agree with you. It's very early. The Mets do worry me. Last couple of games not hitting after they made a couple of good
comebacks. They score in the first inning, then they disappear.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
It's a team that's lacking power.
Nobody out. You get the run in early tonight, and then you don't get the other run in. You don't do anything the rest of the night.
Yep, and it's just as we're programmed as Met fans.
Marco Gonzalez is not supposed to look like Sandy Koufax on the mound.
That's right. And Justin, I have a quick question for you. Going back to Cano, what do you think about San Diego picking him up?
I don't understand the fit, honestly. I really don't, because you're strong up the middle. I know you're missing Fernando Tatis right now. You're strong up the middle, but you're starting Jake Cronenworth at second base. You got Ha-Seong Kim at shortstop as well. And you also have CJ Abrams as well. And they're strong up the middle, and they just activated Luke Voigt off the injured list. So you're looking at him potentially getting a lot of DH at bats, maybe some first base at bats if they want to DH Eric Hosmer. I think there's too many options. You could also get Will Myers off his feet too from the outfield. I think there's too many options to really figure out where the at bats are coming from for Robinson Cano. And they said he's not going to take a minor league deal. So this deal with the Padres is going to put him on the active roster. I have to look at San Diego's game tonight, but he might be in the lineup, or he might even at least be on the bench, because they said he'd be activated immediately.
Yeah, I just wanted to get your take on that. Real quick, I want to get Brad's take on that too.
Yeah, I mean,
he didn't play.
Listen, I mean, I don't really. I'm kind of with Justin on it, but at the same time, Carlos is not necessarily wrong about this. He is a veteran presence. He is a guy, who they could, use in certain situations as a DH, as a bat. I mean, they haven't been hitting the ball that well in San Diego. I know they've had solid starts of the season, but they haven't been hitting that well as a team. So, I think he could potentially bring some, life, although like you saw, he wasn't doing much with the Mets. So, it's not, let's just say, optimistic, but it is something where, if you have a spot on the bench for him and maybe you want to get him a couple at bats to see if he's worth something, see if he has something left in him for a team that maybe hasn't been hitting the ball as well as they think they should, even though obviously they're missing a big part of their lineup in Tatis, then, I guess they're taking that risk. But let's see what happens. I'm kind of with Justin. I don't see the fit necessarily, but I do understand what the Padres are trying to do, which is, trying to resurrect a guy who's right now dead.
Again, if you want a human garbage can, that's fine. That's probably what he's best used for.
And John Gonzalez chimes in here. He says, I really thought Cano was done, but I guess he'll platoon with Luke Voigt as the DH. I've got a comment from Daniel Slavin about the Rangers, and he's crying because the Rangers won, so he's upset because he's a Devils fan like Justin, but I'm not going to read that off the air. Let's see. Carlos says, Padres had a ton of losses, more than the Mets last year. They missed that in the summer last year. The presence. John Gonzalez also says, I have the Yankees game on right now. They're winning 9-3, looking better than I expected. Michael King has been a big surprise. That's a good point, Chris. You want to
John Gonzalez being bougie having Amazon Prime?
Well, he's John
Well, it's
Gonzalez. He
free
runs
now.
the Sports Authorities group. John, tell me how many supporters you have again, and tell people how they can get involved. Well, I'll tell people how they can get involved for you. You like it on Facebook at Sports Authority, so make sure you do that. But Chris, you want to elaborate on some of these things that Mr. Gonzalez is talking about the Yankee game tonight here?
Well, Apple Plus is free for now. The games are free for now. I think it's free only for a few more weeks, but the bullpen. Listen, Michael King has been unbelievable. He finished last season pretty strong too, and so far this year, I think he's had one bad outing so far. He's been great. The one guy who's not been that good in the bullpen this year has been Loizaga. And before the season started, he was the one guy I thought, hey, we got a backup closer in case Chapman, gets into a really bad slump. But he's been really bad this year. I'm a little concerned about him. Maybe last year was maybe a fluke. I don't know. But so far this year, he's not pitched well. But the rest of the bullpen's been as good as anybody. Clay Holmes has become unhittable.
What ERA of like .1?
Yeah,
whatever it is.
And we gave up nothing to get him. So
yeah, talk about being like an average pitcher in Pittsburgh to what he's given the Yankees since he's gotten there.
He left Pittsburgh. That's why he left baseball Siberia.
The guy you got to give credit to is Matt Blake, the pitching coach for the Yankees. He's been amazing since he came over here. The pitching has been great, top to bottom. So pitching is not what I'm worried about with the Yankees. And they got depth in AAA where they could bring guys up. So they're really set with pitching. Hitting, like the catching position, we're getting nothing offensively from them. Great defensively, great behind the ball. But yeah, they're batting like 150 together or 160, whatever it is.
And let me give a plug here to Keith Engel and, of course, TGI Sports. He is a huge part of the Northeast Streaming Sports Channel, which, of course, you can like and follow them also on Facebook, NESSP.info for all the stuff that they're doing. Obviously, the Dream Ride is coming up later this summer as well. We're a part of that. We're supporting that. And Keith goes, Carlos Chavez, can I see some actual quotes on the record with a question mark and a funny laugh here? And John Gonzalez also says the Yankees are like the Mets. They're weak behind the plate. But I think that's most teams right now with catchers. We spoke about that on last week's show, and Keith thanks us. And Carlos brings up here about the Brett Gardner, said no to the Braves, trying to be free for the Yankees. Will the Yankees really even bring back Brett Gardner at this point? Does anybody really think
I don't know if there's really a need. I really don't.
Yeah, no. There's no way. Even if they got an injury right now, that they wouldn't bring him back.
And John Gonzalez agrees. Yep.
I would think maybe they'll bring him back eventually as like a coach or.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Brett Gardner is like got nothing left. I kind of feel like What are you going to bring him in for? Well, what do you
think about it? In AAA, you got Florio who could play center, and you got LaCastro. He just went out on an injury, so I don't think we'll be seeing Gardner. Great guy. I love him as a player.
There's other options.
Yeah.
And Keith Engel agrees. Yeah, love Gardy, but I kind of think Gardner, and Carlos Chavez. What if we got to get this one on the record? Gardner and Cano, the new Bash brothers. Listen.
I'd like to get some of what he's smoking. He's been on.
I was going to say this was what I was going to say, Carlos. Gardner and Cano. If Robertson Cano injected like new PEDs, new whatever he injected, if Gardner injected like twice of what Cano injected, if I put them together at this point, at their stage of their careers, I still don't know if that would get me to the Bash Brothers. I don't even know if that would get me if one half of the Bash Brothers.
Even in their primes, they couldn't.
Well, Cano was a good hitter, if you want. Cano was, depending on what you see. But
Cano would have went to the Hall of Fame if he didn't test positive.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And he says just right into the sunset already. I guess he's referring to both people. Yeah, Cano's got reasons to play on the field. Gardner, I really don't know what he has to prove left, honestly. I really don't know.
He turned down an offer from Toronto.
1 year, $6 million, right? Was that I saw? 1 year, $6 million? And then he says here, bashed by the New York media. Well, that was Cano he's speaking of. Well, for good reason, though. I mean, who in their right minds would be a Robinson Cano fan at this point? I mean, what's to be a fan of him? I mean, he's in like Bobby Bonilla territory for the New York Mets fans. I mean, you
worse,
can't even...
and he tested positive twice, right?
True. I mean, well, I guess you could certainly. Well, that's true. I mean, Bobby Bonilla gets $1 million a year for doing nothing. I mean, so maybe Cano is worse than. And Brad is shaking my head because you know why he's shaking his head? Because we're actually trying to compare Robinson Cano and Bobby Bonilla, which means it's getting close to move on to the subjects here. So
yeah,
I want to get Rob Morosky before we get closing thoughts from him. And Mr. Morosky, give me few different thoughts on what are you looking for between now and next week with the Mets and the Yankees?
Well, the Yankees just keep doing what they're doing. Right now, they're the hottest team in baseball, just keep winning. And you know what? Tonight, they're kicking some butt. So the Yankees, I'm not even worried about the Yankees. The Mets, I am a little worried about.
Yeah, I think that June's road trip, I'm already I'm worried, definitely with the Mets.
I'm worried. They, obviously they have to continue to win series. If they win series, they're going to win. And let's remember, they haven't lost a series yet. So,
but they haven't been convincing. It hasn't been I said, the 3-game sweep, the 4-game sweep. It just hasn't been convincing. Yes, they got the Philly comeback win. Yes, they got some, but it's just not convincing. You look at the Yankees across town, and you see a 9-3 against a good White Sox team that was on a run. Yesterday, we saw them put up 2 touchdowns. And you look at the Mets, and like Justin pointed out earlier tonight, embarrassing performance by the Mets in a way.
Oh, yeah.
It's not acceptable.
It was. I mean, come on. They scored 1 run. I mean, against a team that has not been that great the last 2 weeks. Seattle, the last 2 weeks have not.
I'm not impressed. You know what? I know people were hot on the Mariners, but I'm not that impressed with them.
The lineup's not great, and they're not scoring runs. And they didn't score runs tonight. They scored 2 runs, but the Mets could only muster up 1.
Yeah, and it's going back to that pattern. It's like here we go again. They were, at least they were scoring with runners on base, which we haven't seen much of in the past couple of years. We saw that at the beginning of this season, but now it looks like they're going back to old habits again, and that's not good, but let's see what happens. It's just May, and you know what? They have to win series, and like Brad said, if they keep winning series, then they're going to win.
See, that's how I feel, Brad. I'm nodding my head, and that's kind of how I feel right now about this team. Yes, they've built some capital, but after what we saw last year, they had all that capital, and they definitely fell by the wayside here. So, Mr. Morosky, I want to give you some closing thoughts here because I want to move on to the NFL and get the schedule. I want to get Giants, Jets perspective here before we get out of here and some other things in the NFL. And, of course, maybe talk about those beloved Detroit Lions. So I want to give you the floor, give you some closing thoughts. Obviously, congratulations to our winner here of the contest here. We'll get in touch with him. We'll figure it out. We'll post that clip, or you're welcome to tag me after you're off the air here in a few minutes. Whatever you want to do, we'll do both either way. And I turn it over to you. I'm looking forward to having you next week and each week continue to talk some baseball. Happy to see Joe Dell back with us. Of course, Joe Dell, we play some of his music throughout the week here on Sportswire Radio, a number of his different songs, obviously, with Sleepy Hollow, the legendary Sleepy Hollow. He's got some new music out there as well, book that we just also put over. So for you, Mr. Morosky, I want to give you the floor, plug your social media, and the floor is yours.
Okay, real quick, I just wanted to give you the contest winner's Twitter handle. It's at Ray Jr., RAYJR 148. At Ray Jr. 148. I want to thank everybody who participated in the contest. I got, a lot of people who wanted to win that card, and I'm going to have some more contests throughout the baseball season. So
very good. Yeah,
definitely. And, we want to get people to be here on Friday night. So I'm going to come up with a contest for that also.
Make sure you tag them with the link to come on because they saw the sweepstake, but it's like they didn't know Friday 9:30 here, or whether it's on Twitter or sportnarium.com/player. That's how they're going to know. So we want to make sure
that'll be for the next one because I'm going to have something with the show. But anyway, good talking to you guys every week, and I'll catch you guys next Friday.
Absolutely, and a few more comments before you go. And John Gonzalez says, when it's all said and done, the Astros, those cheating Astros, will win the AL West. And he says those Astros always lingering from Carlos.
You know what? You could argue that they're the hottest team in baseball right now. They've now won 11 in a row. You know, they're up to 22. They're up to 22 and 11 after
I saw that.
They're clicking on all cylinders right now. You saw Justin Verlander almost throw a no-hitter the other day. On the same day that the Angels got the no-hitter from Reed Detmers. So, I mean, the AL West looks exciting right now.
I'll tell you what, the Angels are back. Like you said, Justin, on the Baseball Banter Show, it's good for baseball that the Angels do. Listen, who would have thought the New York teams would both be in first place and the LA teams in baseball?
And I'll give you this one real quick. My two early frontrunners for MVP, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge.
I'll tell you what.
Mike Trout is just an absolute freak show.
If Mike Trout's healthy, he's always an MVP, Karen. Aaron Judge right now, it's the contract year. It's the
100%.
So we know that and Joe Dell says much love to the Sportswire Radio team. Of course, huge shout out. Sleepy Hollow obviously does the best music for us here on Sportswire Radio. Love Joe Dell, and he also says like corn stuck on a molar is the Astros. All right, so that's all good stuff here. Mr. Maraska, looking forward to all that great stuff. Definitely share a tag for me when it comes to the Ray Jr. When I just follow him on Twitter. We'll post the clip also during the afternoon. So we're on Tobacco Road Sports Risk. We'll let everybody else know it. Looking forward to another great segment with you next week. And until then, enjoy. Let's go Mets. And happy to have you back. And keep up the great work, my friend.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. And that was our longest tenured analyst here, Rob Maraska, speaking all things baseball and more. And we're going to tune into the NFL here in a minute or two as we are on Sportswire Radio, on Facebook at Sportswire Radio, at Tom Bryce, also Twitter, Thomas Bryce 2017, sportnarium.com/player, also YouTube at Sportswire Radio, also on the Northeast Streaming Sports channel. You can also catch us tomorrow afternoon on TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com. I want to thank Desmond Johnson as always. I want to thank Linda and Mac McGrath on the Northeast Streaming Sports channel. Also want to thank John Gonzalez, the aforementioned beloved John Gonzalez of the Sports Authorities Group. I want to thank Anthony Finkel again. Of course, May the 28th is his birthday at beautiful Marine Park in the golf course there. On May the 28th, it's 10:30 a.m. it starts. I ain't going to be there at 10:30, but I'll be there at some point during the day because I ain't going to be up at 10:30, but that's here nor there. But also shout out to all those great people. And I'm with Billy McInerney, Elite Sports. Very happy, man. His Rangers won. The brute force Brad Weiss basketball team came up a little bit short, but he's doing a great job also for us here with our LI Brew Crew, Level Up, Long Island Nets, SJC New York, Justin Gianelli, Baseball Banter Show, Chris Pizzea, Liftoff Jets, and the Talking Rivals. All that great stuff you can see on sportnarium.com/player. Carlos also wishes Anthony a happy birthday. And now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty here. This is my favorite part of the show here because those NFL schedules came out here, and John Gonzalez is with us. He knows what's good here. And he says, tune in now, Detroit, because the Blue Cross will be talking those beloved Detroit Lions. I mean, so I guess without further ado here, I mean, the Brute Force, you've seen the banter on Facebook. We saw it myself, you and Justin, and John obviously started the thread. So, I mean, what do you want to say about those Detroit Lions before we get to Billy's Giants and the Jets as well with the other guys?
Yeah, well, again, everybody, lit up. My Wi-Fi went out like 3 times when I was talking last week about this because I was burning the airways with talking about the Detroit Lions. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'm going to tell you why. And really, I mean, I can't believe that the words out of my mouth are, I am confident in the Detroit Lions. And I can't believe I could say that, but I am. Because I'm going to guarantee right now, that the Detroit Lions will win at least 6 games this season. Okay? Guarantee. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go through it together, okay? Because
I got it right in front of me. Let's go.
Let's go.
You can put that down. I'm guaranteeing they're winning 6 games. Okay?
All right,
first game.
Let's hear it.
First game at home against the Eagles. I'm going to give them a loss, okay? But I can't tell you that they won't have a chance, all right? Second week, they play Commander Carson at home. That's a win, all right, against Commander Carson, okay? They're going to win that game.
Winnable.
I'll give you that.
Winnable.
The Commanders aren't good, okay?
I'll give you that.
Get out on the road against the Vikings. I'm going to give them a loss, okay? I'm going to give them a loss.
You on that. That's
1-2. Okay, at home against Drew Lock and the Seahawks. That's a win for the Detroit Lions.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
Drew
no.
Lock.
I think they beat Seattle. I'm with Brad. I'm confident.
That's 2 and 2.
So far.
That's 2 and 2.
But think about this: the Seahawks say we got the Lions on our schedule.
Yeah, but the Lions don't care. That's actually what I think the Lions want. They want everyone thinking, oh, they want us. They want us. Yeah. All right, good.
What do you got next? We got the Patriots.
We got the Patriots on the road. I'm giving them a loss. That's 2 and 3. Now, this one I love because the Lions have a bye week, and then they have the Cowboys. So we all know they're going to be like, oh, we're playing the Lions. We're feeling good about ourselves. Yeah. And you know what? I'm still going to give the Lions a loss, okay?
Yes.
But I think that game's going to be really close, okay? 2 and 4. All right? Now, home against the Dolphins. I like this game for the Lions. I'm going to be honest with you. I really do. What confidence do you have in Tua Tagovailoa, all right, against Jared Goff? I know
they won 8 of their last 9
I don't like
last
Tua
year.
at all. I don't like Tua at all. I would rather have him over Jared Goff.
That's fine, but that don't mean
better playmakers. They got better playmakers. Run the ball.
So, Brad, you have them beating Miami. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm going to give them a win. All right, now. All right, home against the Packers. I'm giving them a loss. Okay, 3 and 5. On the road against the Chicago Bears, a win. All right,
Yeah.
come on.
I'll give them a
The
loss.
Bears aren't good. All right, the Bears aren't good. I'm giving them a win. All right,
Yeah.
that's 4 and 5, correct?
Yeah.
No.
Now on the road against the Giants, ladies and gentlemen, the Lions are winning. All right, you can't tell me, right, that again. You know the Giants excite. Don't excite. How do
Well,
you
Billy's
do
gonna, when we get the Giants take a couple of minutes from Billy, he'll give us a different take, maybe.
I personally think the Lions have a good chance of winning that game. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with you on that.
okay. The Bills at home, massacre, loss. Okay. All right. The Jaguars at home.
They
Ladies
win that
and
game.
Say it
They win
together. They're going to win. Okay. That's 6 right there. Okay. The Vikings at home. You can't tell me that Kirk Cousins is going to beat the Lions twice.
They beat them last year, and Detroit beat Minnesota last year. So, I mean, yeah, I could see them winning that.
I really can't be that's another winnable game. You want to take the Miami game off? You can put that game on, okay? All right, there's 6. We're on the road against our Jets. All right, they're going to lose. The Jets, I think, will beat the Lions, okay? On the road against the Panthers.
They're winning that game. Yeah, they're winning that one.
All right,
That one.
that's
They're winning
another
that.
winnable game. There's 7 or 8 right there. All right, the Bears at home. The Bears are not good. That's another winnable game. And then the Packers. So right there, you can't tell me.
Don't even go through that game. They're not winning that.
You can't tell me from what we just went through that the Lions aren't going to win 6 games. I could see them winning 8.
They're over and under
Brad,
6.5.
I just went through it. I came up with 4 and 13.
You can't have okay. Who's your 4 wins?
The 4 wins.
4?
Yeah, walk me your 4 wins. Give
They'll
me
beat
4.
Washington in week 2.
All right, home
That's gonna be a
opener.
tough game, man.
They will beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in later in the year. They will beat the Panthers, and they'll win the home matchup with the Bears. They will split with the Bears because the division games can tend to be a lot.
You don't
of
think
splits.
they beat the Giants?
I think the Giants will be okay, actually.
Oh, we'll get Billy's take in a
I
minute.
think the Giants will be okay. You want to tell me a team that's going to win 7-8 games? I think the Giants might win 7-8 games.
You don't think that they
They have an easy schedule.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You said Seattle was beating Detroit?
I do. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I think Seattle's still better. Their quarterback situation is not great, but Seattle's still better.
And you had Chicago winning at least 1 against Detroit?
Split. Yep, a split.
I mean, I don't know if they win.
I can buy that.
I think 6.5's the over under. I can't believe I'm talking Detroit Lions here, but I'm gonna say they win 7. I don't know why can't believe I'm gonna put a gun to my head. I'm gonna say they win 7 games because you know what? I can't believe I'm going through the Detroit Lions schedule. God help me.
This schedule's not that hard.
Week I've had here at Sportswire Radio, but I'm gonna go through it. I think they beat Washington home opener.
Agree.
I think they beat Seattle. That's 2. I think they beat the Bears in Chicago 3. I think they beat the Giants. I think they beat Jacksonville. I think they beat Carolina, and I think they beat the Bears again. So I'm going to say 7. I don't think they beat Miami because I think Miami's all right. They're not beating Buffalo, even though it's Thanksgiving, and they ain't beating Minnesota again. So, yeah, I think they get 7. If you told me 6, I could probably live with that. I don't know. Anybody else have a different point? Because I can't believe I'm talking Detroit Lions football.
I feel better going the under, I'll be honest.
6, right? You say 6, right? If you told me 6, I wouldn't be shocked. Billy, give me your thought, Billy. I want to hear from you.
I feel better with the under. I definitely see 7 as a possibility, but I think 5 or 6 is a more.
I don't think they go more than 7. I really don't say to myself with John Gonzalez, it all depends on how Jared Goff goes. As Goff goes, yeah, that's why I don't see them really going more than 7.
That's the problem, John.
And Carlos Chavez says, do you remember that Danny Dimes is still a Giant? That might be for Justin, I think.
I do. I just think I think there's going to be a better roster around the Giants. I don't think the Giants are going to be great, but I think they're going to make strides. And they have, I think, the 3rd or 4th easiest schedule in the league. Now, again, I won't contradict myself. Teams are going to look at the schedule and say we got the Giants too, but I think the Giants have improved in a lot of areas.
I hope they have, because I don't like to cover teams that are doing terrible. So I like to be as objective as I can, and I'm going to transition here before I get to Carlos's comments. I want to get Billy's thoughts on the Giants, because I actually want to go over the Giants schedule. I actually do want to go to the Giants schedule. And Carlos says what makes this real is that the division is rock. Yeah, that division's not very good. I mean, the Bears are terrible. Not. Minnesota's like what were they 8-9 last year? I think they're like 8-9 again. And John Gonzalez, do you realize how many fans from Detroit requested to join my sports group after the brute predicted they won the Lions? Yeah, how many people did actually want to request to join your group? And how many members are in the group again, John? I want to know how many people from England have requested, because I'm pretty sure it's like about 100 in the last week or two. But hey, that's here nor there. So maybe the brute force, you are onto something. But I want to bring Billy Mack because I want to talk about the Giants. I really want to get over to the Giants schedule. So I want to go over the Giants schedule here one by one here. So let's work on the Giants schedule. So Billy,
I've actually got a bold prediction for you. Brute gave a bold prediction. I'll give you one of the Giants.
Give it to me because I got the Giants schedule pulled up. You want to go over Giants week by week?
Yeah. They will, going into their Thanksgiving matchup with the Cowboys, they will be in playoff contention.
I don't disagree with that at all. I'm looking at the schedule right now.
Let's go over it here. We got Tennessee.
That's a loss. Unless Tannehill completely.
Even with Ryan Tannehill, you're losing that game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got week 2 against Carolina, and we win that game.
I think that's a win.
We're all in agreement. 1-1. Cowboys Monday night.
No.
Losing that one. 1-2. You beat the Bears 2-2. We agree. We're all in agreement. 2-2.
Yeah,
2-2.
Green Bay in London 2-3. Right? We're all in agreement.
Stay home. Don't even bother taking.
We can't say that because I'm number 1 in 5 towns in England. So please, I'm number 1 in 5 towns in England. Please, whatever you do not say don't show up to England, because in England I really am like what Salicata and Francesa, all those little towns. Please don't say that again. We got Baltimore week 6. You know what?
I don't think they're beating Baltimore flying back from London.
So 2-4? We're gonna go 2-4?
Yeah, they're flying back from London. I think Baltimore's a way better team than them. I don't.
We got Jacksonville 1:00. We win Jacksonville.
Yeah, you damn well better than Jacksonville.
3-4. Seattle in Seattle 4:25. We win that game.
I think you're gonna beat that one. I think you get Jamal Adams matched up with someone in coverage to end the game. And you win that game. We know that's not going to end well for the Seahawks.
So we're 4-4 right now.
I'm going to give him 4-4 with the Seahawks.
Right. John Gonzalez says he's got 4,000 members in his group. Thank you, John. Week 9 is a bye. Week 10, Houston. I think you win, Houston.
Yeah, that's a winnable game.
5-4, Lions. I say Lions win. I'm with that. I'm going with the Lions.
I think the Giants have a good shot.
I think Detroit wins that. I'm going Detroit wins.
I think they're looking past Detroit to the Cowboys, and I think they let that one slip away. And I think they're looking. I think
the Giants lose against Detroit and they lose against Dallas. Anybody have a different thought?
No way they're beating Dallas.
So that puts them at 5-6. Commanders.
I think they're beating Washington at home. Long league. You got Carson Wentz in a playoff hunt. All those signs point to the Giants winning that game.
So that puts us at 6-6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
all right,
5-5 going into Thanksgiving. They're in playoff contention there.
yeah, I agree with
hopefully
that.
not
All right,
get
6-6. We got
And then
Chris's Eagles, and I
don't
think
see
Philly
them-
wins.
I
Philly
think
wins.
Philly wins that one.
6-7. We got either the 17th or the. I guess that's a flex schedule, right?
Yeah,
I think Giants beat Washington. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed
in
with Washington.
2
Washington.
wins. I'll take 2 for the
I
Giants.
think Washington. I think they split with Washington. I think Washington takes that one in Washington.
In Minnesota, I think Minnesota wins. I
Yeah,
think Minnesota's
I think
probably
Minnesota wins.
that puts us at what 7? Am I at 7 and 8 right now? Is that what I have?
Yeah,
The
I'm at
Colts.
6 and 9. I think the Colts are winning that one.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I think the Giants could beat the Colts. It
It
depends on.
I think they'll
Depends
be
on
very.
Matt Ryan this year. We
good
really
team.
don't know about Matt Ryan. I
think they'll be very good, and I will take the Colts as the team to beat.
Brad or
and
Chris,
out.
what do you got? Giants, Colts. Who do you win for you guys?
Colts.
I'm going the Giants. I can't believe
I got Colts by 2 touchdowns minimum.
Let's see
I agree
how
with
Matt
that.
Ryan holds up. Then we've got the last game of the
Minimum.
season in Philly.
I don't.
I think
come out with 7. I come out
You
with
sure
7.
you want to
and
go
10.
with the Giants there, Tom?
it depends on what's on the line.
I like the Giants odds a lot better in New Jersey than in Philly.
If Philly's clinched
could
the
see them
playoff spot, is Philly
Splitting with
playing
Philly.
people?
Philly's not clinching.
And about the Colts too.
I don't know
The Colts
that.
have some
I don't know right now. What's today? May the 14th going on? I have no idea. So I'm going to say, looking at this schedule, to be fair, you know what? I got 8 wins for the Giants. What do I got here before comments from all you guys? What do you got?
I got 7 wins. I think
7 and 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
7 and 10 sounds good.
What do you got for me, Brad?
Yeah, I got 6 or 7. I think that was kind of, based on what we just went through, I think that's a very realistic record, which, like I said, is going to be right with those Detroit Lions, going to be right in the same area. So
If you told me the Giants would win 7, I could believe that. John Gonzalez has Giants and will win 6. Carlos says Vegas has them at 6. So that, yeah. And then we got here.
I wouldn't bet on that, but if a gun to my head, I would hit the over on that.
Giants.
I'm not hitting the
Carlos.
Carlos is funny. I love Carlos, by the way. Huge shout out to Carlos. Giants Waterboy will start Game 6 with Danny Dimes and Tyrod Taylor coming. Well, don't say COVID. Don't say COVID mutations and terrible diarrhea because we don't want to wish anybody on COVID and anybody stuff like that. Eagles have a good team. I'm not sold on Hurts. Yeah,
Agreed.
we talked about this.
Agreed.
Giants cut Bradbury. They have no corners. And then John says here, Jets have a tough. We're going to go with the Jets schedule in a second. But for anybody here, anybody have a different thought on the Giants? Because I can't believe I'm saying this. I got 8 wins on the Giants. Anybody different?
Not far off. Again, just 7.
All right, and just to run it by on the national schedule, Giants Monday night against the Cowboys. They're in London, NFL Network. They've got also Thanksgiving in Dallas. I always like those Thanksgiving games in Dallas. I'm never up for the Detroit Thanksgiving game, so that's always good for me. And then I guess flex schedule at the end. So let's go to the Jets schedule.
Thanksgiving games suck this year, by the way. Bills, was it Bills,
Lions.
Cowboys.
Giants, Cowboys, Patriots, Vikings.
Yeah, all
Patriots
these
Vikings
games
ain't
suck
terrible.
this
It's not a
year.
terrible game.
Yeah, that should be a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, and Carlos says here, I'm not wishing COVID on them, but it feels like, anything could happen. I mean, that's a fair point. Don't just, listen, I mean, who knows really? And I don't even want to think about COVID mandates and COVID this because I'm just, it's another topic for another time here. But let's go to the Jets schedule because I want to go to that's really where I feel like it's going to be very, very interesting here. So let's pull that up. You got, well, all right. Well, I like to run it off, so I got it on my phone. So let's go here, Jets. So Jets have Baltimore at home. 1 o'clock. What do we got?
Loss.
Brad,
I got to win.
Brad's got a win or a loss? What's that mean? Win?
Loss.
All right.
Loss, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. So we got 0-1. So we got 0-1. Just
0-1.
1-0.
I mean, the Jets are 2-9. The Jets are 2-9 all time against. The Jets are 2-9 all time against the Ravens.
You know what? I can't believe I'm saying this. September 11th. I'm gonna say Jets win. I am gonna say for whatever reason, I'm gonna go and be bravado. And John Gonzalez wants to steal it. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll go steal a schedule. I'll go.
Oh, jeez. Oh, it's a waste of time, John Gonzalez. Really?
He's listening. He has a sports authority.
He's listening.
I'm a moderator for.
I just gave him a whole Detroit Lions rundown. He don't need no Steelers. He knows what's about to happen.
Listen, look, we got. So I got 1-0 with the Jets. I think Justin had 1-0, and the rest
no,
of us
lost. I have
0-1.
1-1.
I listen. September 11th. Something tells me the Jets will be motivated. I don't know what it is.
1-0.
Cleveland. I'm gonna say they lose.
That's
in Cleveland.
a win.
I still win.
I'm gonna give him a win.
Washington is suspended.
No, Deshaun Watson looks like I'm gonna give him a
I'm
win.
taking W
It's a
here.
win.
All right, so we got 1-1 pretty much for
1-1.
everywhere. I'm
1-1.
Cincinnati at home rematch
Lost.
from last year.
Lost.
Yeah, lost.
Loss.
Billy Heenan will
We
be
beat 'em
there,
last
Brad. So
year.
we have to say Bengals win.
Oh, yeah.
Basketball with him in the summer. This is the game I can't wait to talk about here. Those beloved Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh for the
Big
Jets.
time win.
That's a win.
That's
Win.
a win.
I'm going Pittsburgh wins.
Oh,
Wow.
oh, please.
Trubisky?
Trubisky or whatever his name is.
I can't. Well, listen, I can't go against those that support me. Listen, I can't say. I gotta say P-Pop. Listen, John was watching the wrestlers. He was talking with the wrestlers like John. I can't go against John. So we got 2-2 for everybody so far.
2
I'm
and 2.
1-3 though. So
I got 2-2.
Miami. I'm gonna say Jets beat Miami.
Win.
All right.
That's at home.
Yes.
Yeah, it's at home. It's at
Okay,
home.
yeah, win.
That's a
Miami.
win.
Win.
Green Bay ain't beating Green Bay.
Nope.
Green Bay.
Absolutely.
October 16th, no
Yeah.
way in hell. Yeah. All right. In Denver wins.
L.
Lost.
So that puts us. What do we got for the guys?
3 and 4.
I think.
I'm at 2-5. You're all at 3-4. All right. New England at home. You know what?
Win.
Yeah, me too. I'm saying win.
You know what? At home, I'm going to say win.
Me too. For whatever
Win.
reason, I don't know. I'm saying win. All right. We got 4 and I got 3.
4
All
and
right.
4.
Buffalo.
Nope.
L.
No way.
Absolute
No.
L.
Buffalo might be the best team in the AFC this year. Something tells me they're going to be motivated. All right. So we got 4. I'm at 3.
4 and 5.
They lose in Foxborough. Yeah, November
L. 4 and
20th.
6.
Bears, we win that game.
Yeah.
We all agree,
I don't know-
Bears.
I don't know about New England this year. They didn't do nothing in the offseason.
Yeah, but it's in Foxborough.
I
though.
don't think the Jets are going to
I always
Foxborough
go with
winning,
the
though.
law of logic.
I think they split that series.
And
I don't see the
Carlos
Jets
says,
going to Foxborough.
my surprise is the Bills will get stampede by the Dolphins and miss the play. Yeah, okay, they're not missing the playoffs. Carlos, I love you, but the Bills ain't missing the playoffs. We'll talk about that, though. So I got the Bears. We win the Bears. We all agree
Yeah.
we win the
I
Bears.
got win 5 and 6 here.
5 and 6. Yeah.
I got 4 right now. Okay, Minnesota.
Where?
That's a win.
On the
I'm saying
road.
that's a win.
At Minnesota, I think they could win that game.
Yeah, you know what?
I got lost.
You know what? I'm going to say Minnesota, the Jets find a way to win
I
that
don't
game.
trust
I'm going
Minnesota.
I'm gonna go with Chris and Tom. I'm gonna say they win.
Yeah, so I think we're all at 5 so far. All right.
I have 5 and 7. Yep.
6.
Buffalo,
I
we
got
have
5 and 8.
6 and 6.
5.
6 and 6.
Detroit. What
Win.
did I say that
Gotta
the
be
Lions would win that game? Or I
Yes,
don't
win.
You skipped
remember.
the Bills, but
I'm
that's a
going with the
loss,
Jets
though.
winning. So that gives me 6. Jacksonville, Amazon Prime. Oh,
Win.
what? That
Win.
sucks. Amazon Prime Video. All right, so that puts them 7. In Seattle, I say Jets win.
Win.
In Seattle.
Yeah.
And Miami, I think Miami wins. The Jets
I
never.
think in Miami
Wrong.
wins.
Miami always beats the Jets in Miami. I feel like historically, except for Rex's last game when Rex got carted off.
Here's the
field.
deal. Here's the deal.
That was still a
That
good
might
moment.
be for the
No.
playoffs. That last game.
Yeah. Chris is
The
right here.
final wild
Here's what's
card
going to
spot?
happen. Here's what's going to happen. That number 7 seed, 9 and 8 will get you into the postseason. The Jets will go into that game 8 and 8. They
Yeah,
will
but was it
need-
10? But 10 last year got the last spot, right? Was
Yeah.
it 10?
This,
Was it
this year I think it'll be
9?
This year I think it'll be 9 and 8 for that last spot. The Jets will be 8 and 8 going into that last weekend against Miami, and they'll lose 34-0.
Yeah, I don't think the Jets will
Right.
win in Miami. I just know, exception
No way.
of Rex's last game where he got, again, carted off the field. That was a good moment. Other than that, the Jets, never win in Miami. So, even when the Jets are good, they don't win in Miami.
reason
So
why-
I'm going to say,
I got 8 and 9.
100% on Miami because Miami, you got to remember, they got a rookie head coach. It's going to be a whole
Right,
new
Michael
system
Mccann,
for
yeah.
Miami to learn. I don't know.
I feel like Miami. I feel like is always between 6 and 10 and 10 and 6. Do I feel like
I
am
have the
wrong?
Jets going in
I don't know
9
if
and
they're gonna
7
be
for
that
that
good
last
this year.
game.
I have the Jets going 8-8 going into that.
I had
game.
8-8. Yeah.
I haven't beaten the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to be checked out by that.
I think the Seahawks are going to win like 3 games this year.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think they're mentally checked out, and that they give that game away to the Jets.
So I've got the Jets at 8 wins. What does everybody else have them at?
I have
8.
9.
I have 8 and 9.
What about Chris and Brad? Because they're nodding at me. What do you got?
I had 9 or 10 wins for them, so I'll go with the 9 and 8.
Yeah, I think 10's like a little much for me at the schedule. I don't know if I see 10. John says the Jets defense is vastly improved. So 8 wins. I got 8. So to clarify, we've got all between 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even though they just maybe missed the playoffs, I'll take that for a season of improvement.
Absolutely.
I'll consider that improvement and progress towards year 3 of Zach.
And let me check also on the Jets schedule. I know we talked about it yesterday on Sportswire, but in terms of national games, we have just one Amazon Prime Video.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, the Jets over under looks like it's 5.5 right now.
That's a good one. I think I like that one.
I would slam the over now if I were a better.
Billy, did you not see the tweet? I think BetMGM might have put it out. They are the most popular over in the NFL.
I like that one. I really like that
hammering
one.
over 5.5.
I don't know.
A weak schedule, an improved team. I love the Jets at over 5.5 wins.
I think
they have to go. If they don't go over 5.5, something really bad happened.
Right. And think about this: if the Jets, even if the Jets struggle out of the gate and they lose games that we put on the win column from early in the season, there's no way there's no reason they can't win 3 or 4 of the last 5.
I have them winning 3 of the last 4.
I think the Jets
December
are going to win.
softens up for the Jets.
I think the Jets are going to get hot that's why I have them at 8. I think
that's why it's imperative for the Jets. Honestly, it's imperative for the Jets to steal games early in the season because then it might actually mean playoff contention.
Yeah, you know what? It's a fair point.
December might be the softest schedule ever.
All right, so I'm going to do this for John Gonzalez, and I know Brad Weiss is looking at me. I have to do it because you know what? I want to bust some balls. I got to be honest. Let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers schedule. So let's go. You know what? Let's hell with it. Hey, John Gonzalez agrees with Chris. 9 or 10 wins. Yeah, listen, if you told me 9, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to stick with 8. So let's go Steelers and Bengals. In Cincinnati, that's the Steelers.
42-3.
0-1. New England.
Loss.
I think they win that game.
I think at home they beat them.
Yeah, me too. I think New England. I'm starting to think New England may not be as good as they were last year.
We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know, but Trubisky's got a career-winning record, though. To be fair.
Don't give me that. Next game.
No, I mean, I'm going to tell you his record. What do you want me to tell
you? Before you go on, I'm going to make this proclamation right now. Kenny Pickett's going to be the quarterback day 1.
All right, well, that's a different discussion. But
you know what? But I also think that means that Kenny Pickett's going to be really good.
Well,
I know everybody here is a little bit off from how I feel. Kenny Pickett's going to be a really freaking good quarterback, and we're going to be right in the cycle of Pittsburgh Steelers success.
I'll tell you what, it wouldn't shock me. 1-1 considering that franchise's luck. All right, we got Cleveland in Cleveland, Amazon Prime.
Win.
W because they're not going to have Watson.
2-1. All right, we got the Jets. I don't remember if I said Pittsburgh beats the Jets. So, I did.
You did. Yes.
I have Pittsburgh winning, so I'm going 3-1 Steelers.
1-3.
I got 3-1. Let's go Steelers. Buffalo in Buffalo Bay.
50-2. Just stop.
That might be a blowout. That might be a blowout. And Carlos Chavez says Trubisky is undefeated for the Bills. What was that like? 0? Was he 1-0? 0-0? I mean, come on. Tampa Bay, they ain't winning that.
Loss.
So that puts them 3-3.
1-5.
Miami, 8:20 p.m. Sunday night. Oof. Yeah.
Loss.
I'll give them a W.
That's
going to be one of those.
Give them another loss.
No, I'm going away because you know what? That's going to be one of those really crappy Sunday night games you can feel like 20-6 and something like that. I'm going to be bored out of my mind. Hopefully, the World Series will be good at that time. In Philly.
Loss.
I think Philly wins that.
There.
I think Philly wins.
You know what? That in-state rivalry, they're going to smoke the Eagles.
I think Philly wins.
If anyone's going to stop Hurts, it's going to be Tomlin. I'm giving them the win there.
What are we? I got 4 right now for Pittsburgh.
1-7.
I got 2-6.
You're going to go like 2-15. Dude. You're going to go.
We know where he's
going. Biased, man. New Orleans, they're beating New Orleans.
Win.
5-4. Cincinnati Sunday night.
Loss.
I think for whatever reason they win that game. I don't know why. I think they
The
win.
bloodbath. That rivalry,
Exactly.
that's always a bloodbath.
Yeah, the Three Rivers. I think it's just I got 6 right now.
I'll
Indianapolis.
find Billy Enid celebrating.
Indianapolis, they're getting blown out. For whatever reason,
Loss.
6 and 5.
Loss.
They're beating Atlanta. Although shout out to Dirty Bird to sit down marks at 7.
Atlanta.
Baltimore.
No.
Loss.
No, I have win at home. I have win.
I'm gonna go loss, but I
have
kind
a
of feel
split
like
with them.
I
have
have a
them
small-
multiple splitting.
I got set. I'll go 7 and 6. Carolina, they're beating. That's 8.
Yep.
Las Vegas Saturday night.
That'll be a great
Loss.
game. L.
I think they win that. You know why? I tell you why I think they win that.
Vegas
Game.
W.
They win that because it's December 24th. It'll probably be like 15 degrees in Pittsburgh. And I'll just assume that Pittsburgh wins because Las Vegas doesn't play in that kind of weather. So I'm giving them 9. Baltimore, they lose that game, 9 and 7. I think they beat Cleveland. I'm going to go with, can't believe I'm saying this, Pittsburgh Steelers, 10 wins. John Gonzalez, get at me.
I got 9 and 8.
Not in a million.
I got 5.
Chance.
I got 5.
No.
I got 10.
no
I got
shot.
10. That's not a bad schedule. Brad Weiss, how many do you have? Probably like 3, right?
You know what I'm going to say? If they get 6, John Gonzalez to throw a party on the streets of New York City. They're not winning 6 games. No chance. I'll give them at least 4, but they're no more than 6. That's the gap.
Well,
and if that's the case, I'll say 5.
I'll tell you this much, and I want to get to the national schedule real quick. I know I got more comments in here, and
Listen, Brad, we're not gonna articulate your negativity and put it on our team because we feel really confident in our group.
I could see
what we
them.
have
I could
our
see
locker
them
room.
based on that schedule winning 6, but I'm going to go with the law of metrics here. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season as Steelers coach, and the Steelers have, I believe, it's 18 straight
Haven't won
seasons.
this year.
It's always time for a first.
That's it.
It's
He's
got
due.
a 7.5.
Listen, I said it.
What's the over/under? Give me the over/under.
7.5.
I think they go over.
I give him 8 wins.
Wait, Billy, what was it?
8 and 9.
I'm gonna give him under. I don't see them
Under.
winning more than 5 games.
I'll smash under. Under.
Yeah, and then the national games, but it's the
Listen,
Steelers.
Brad,
have
we
a
want
bunch.
volunteers, not hostages.
Listen,
Hey,
Tom, I'm gonna make this comment one more time. I said it last week. I'll say it again. The Detroit Lions will win more games than the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. Call it right now.
Woo.
Whoa.
What does John Gonzalez think of that one? Let's see.
Come on, John. You got to agree with me, John. We just laid it out for you, John.
I'm going to say Pittsburgh still. I know what you're saying because Detroit has a better schedule, but Pittsburgh always finds a way to muck these games up and win.
Yep.
Their national schedule is obviously a bunch. They've got Amazon. I guess we count Amazon Prime Video Sunday night game. That's 2 back-to-back Sunday night, Monday night. I'm so curious about these Monday night games. That's 4 NFL Networks. They got 5 primetime games. So let's go over the Monday Night Football schedule real quick. Let's go with that.
Hold on, before we do that, we got to talk about the opener. This might be the best opener in a long time. Bills Rams.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah.
That's
gonna be
an
an awesome
absolute.
game, man.
That's an absolute win by the NFL. I mean, you obviously have the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams, and you get them
Didn't
against.
we have
the
what was it?
Buffalo
Chiefs.
Bills.
What was it last year? We had who was it? Trying to think, it was last year. It wasn't a bad game last year.
Well, the
Was it
Buccaneers,
Dallas and Tampa?
Buccaneers Cowboys,
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah.
That was.
and Buccaneers Cowboys open the season this year again on Sunday Night Football. I think this one's in Arlington.
It's in Dallas, correct?
Yeah, it's
And
down.
I got to give a comment in because one of our guys, the Brew Force, of course, Kyle Supran from, of course, our beloved LI Brew Crew, and also am I going to get this right here? Is this this is not the Washington Commanders, Sue. This is Jake's the
Oh,
Washington.
Jake's the
Thank God.
commander.
I wanted to make sure. Thank God. Sign of the cross.
Kyle, tell Jake to come on quickly and tell us how many wins the Commanders are going to get this season.
Because he sort of works for the team. That's why. That's why we kind of wanted to.
I want to hear.
Well, he's got Rangers winning at Game 7, but we were you're 2 hours late, bro, on that. But I mean,
Love it.
But
He's a big Rangers fan too, though, so he's excited.
I know. We've spoken about it off the air. We've had them on the show. And John says Brew has become an overnight sensation in the Detroit area, so the Lions are a threat. Yeah, that could be. I guess we'll wait for the Super. Otherwise, I mean, I did have the Monday night schedule. Anybody want to look at the Monday night schedule? Because I have it right.
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right, so let's get these games here. So we have I got Denver at Seattle.
Love
That's
it.
kinda-
I
You
love
like that
it.
game?
I love it because the storyline.
The storyline.
Russell Wilson immediately goes back to Seattle. Love the storyline. It should be a big Denver victory,
love
but
the matchup. The game, I'm a little iffy on. Storyline's great. The game, I'm sort of.
I think the game is going to be. I'll pass. I got a doubleheader week 2. I got Tennessee at Buffalo. That's a good game. 7:15.
Yeah.
I like that matchup.
Talk about contrasting philosophies, though.
And then I got ABC. ABC's back for Monday night. I got Minnesota at Philly. Yeah, I kind of like that game. Chris, you like that game as an Eagles fan? Minnesota, Philly?
Yeah.
It's a fun game.
I have an interesting question for everybody. What does everybody think about the overlap, though? Because it's a 7:15 start for that Tennessee Buffalo game, and Minnesota Philly will start at 8:30.
I'm not a big fan of overlaps in general for games. Let us watch all of both games.
Right.
I got to be honest. I'm not crazy about the 7:15 start time. As somebody who's, as most people would know, I'm pretty much a later person. So I kind of
like a West Coast game and started it later, like 9:30.
Didn't they used to do that? Remember the first week you'd get
you'd always get like the Raiders or the Broncos, and they'd play.
Why are they doing it that week? Is there what's?
I think they've built in a few doubleheaders.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule here. So I got Giants, Cowboys. We went over that. Yeah, we got
the Giants. Look, I said they're going to be better, but they really shouldn't be on prime time.
No.
The game I'm excited for here is the Rams and 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a good one.
Bloodbath, absolutely bloodbath.
And we got the 10th. It's on paper a great matchup, but I have a feeling Kansas City is going to steamroll them. That is the Raiders and Chiefs in Arrowhead. Anybody?
No, I think it'll be a competitive game.
It's a good game, but I can never get excited about watching the Raiders.
Me either.
Did you just say you can't get excited about watching the Raiders?
Just in general.
The Raiders to me are like the coolest franchise in the NFL.
Yeah, but in Arrowhead, they never play well in Arrowhead.
I almost wish I grew up a Raiders fan.
If his point was in Arrowhead, the Raiders never play well there.
No, they don't.
Which is why he might be right. Broncos Chargers. I like this game.
That game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game.
Good one.
That should be good.
Oh my God, this is a terrible matchup.
Oh, gross.
Bears and Patriots really stole my thunder.
Why are the Bears on prime time so much? I don't understand this. They're terrible. Like, what are they doing on prime time?
Is that part of Mike Ditka's contract rollover at ESPN? Like the years they're paying him for? Is that why? Because
didn't I say they get 3 primetime games? The Bears.
Yeah, they're on.
That's horrendous.
We got the other here now for Halloween. This is a good one. Bengals Browns. I think it'd be a decent matchup. October 31st.
Yeah.
Another crap matchup coming up here, November 6th. My favorite team, I hate when they're on prime time, the New Orleans Saints. We got the Ravens and Saints. That's going to be yuck.
Yeah.
Commanders and Eagles.
Disgusting.
On paper, it sounds good, but
keep the NFC East
off
divisional
game,
please.
It's in Philadelphia, right?
November 21st, we got 49ers Cardinals. Yeah, that'll be a decent matchup. They'll be decent.
Yeah, it's okay.
Probably right around Cliff Kingsbury's annual descent into madness. That'll be fun.
That's why it's a decent matchup. That's why something tells me it'll be fun. November the 28th, Steelers Colts. I don't think much of this game. I think
massacre.
I agree with you on that. I don't.
Definitely.
And John Gonzalez says Seattle will probably be Pete Carroll's last year. Yeah, maybe Carlos Chavez, but I'd rather see Wilson and the Jets. I'd rather see them than the Saints on Monday night. I've got here Saints and Buccaneers. Forget that. Although the Saints beat Tampa last year on Sunday night, but I still do not care for this game.
The only reason why I have intrigue in it is because Jameis Winston plays with this like extra edge against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think the game to watch visually, I won't be happy about it. Thank God we have wrestling still, so I can watch Monday Night Raw instead. So that's be my cue back to wrestling that day. What can I tell you? December the 12th, Patriots Cardinals. Yeah, that'll be a yuck game. I'm with Billy on this one.
3 straight horrible games. What are you doing, NFL?
Well, Rams Packers should be interesting, right? Rams Packers.
Rams Packers. That's gonna be big.
Now this game I think is going to be good.
Where are we at in the season now?
December 26th is
week 15.
I've got week 16. We just did Rams Packers, but now week 16.
So that's December. So December 19th, Rams Packers.
Yeah, and then I got the 26th.
That's gonna be huge because that could be top seed in the NFC implications.
Yeah.
That's
right
why
there.
that's a good matchup. That's a good matchup.
I love
It
that
probably
matchup.
will be.
Absolutely.
The rest of the NFC
The
sucks.
26th, I've got the Chargers and Colts. Yeah, I think it'll be.
I like that matchup.
I like that
It'll be a good
matchup a
game.
lot.
And then January 2nd, we've got the Bills and Bengals. Yeah, it should be decent.
I like that a lot.
Love that one,
It
too.
should be decent long as there's something on the line. Because I feel like, what if both those teams? Well, there should be week 16. Yeah,
That Chargers Colts Monday night game will be probably the reason why the Chargers miss the playoffs because they end up chargering and they find their way to miss the playoffs.
And John Gonzalez says here, Saints always play the Bucks tough. Now, let me go to the Thursday night schedule very quickly. So I've got here September. I think we just said it. Bills and the Rams. That'll be a decent matchup. Absolutely. I've got Sunday, September 11th, Bucks and Cowboys. I think that'll be a good game.
Absolutely.
That'll be a good game. Bears and Packers. At least they're doing it September, not December. But that's just a crap matchup. Like, I think, who was that? Why are the the Bears on so much? I think that's whoever said that. Was it Brad? Brad?
I think
Right
all of us, we all agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, I please. Why are the Bears on? So, like I said, Mike Ditka, what is he paying the national? What is his contract state? We've got here the 25th. I got the 49ers and Broncos, which I think will be a decent matchup.
I like that matchup.
Garoppolo, good game. I think this is the game I'm excited for most so far. That is the Chiefs and the Bucks, a rematch of the past Super Bowl 2 years ago. That is October the 2nd. October the 9th. I've got the Bengals and Ravens. Yeah, that should be a good one.
Ravens, absolutely.
Cowboys, Eagles in Philly, October 16th.
I like it.
I like divisional game.
October. Why do I have here 23rd? But it's October 23rd. Yep, correct. I don't know why it says 22nd on the NFL schedule. I've got Steelers and Dolphins. I think nothing of this game. I think Steelers win, but I think it's a yuck matchup. I really think I don't.
Oh, please.
Do not.
October 30th, Packers Bills.
Yep.
Good matchup.
Yep.
Should be a good one.
November 6th, Tennessee and Kansas City.
Eh.
I don't know what Tennessee is.
It's
honestly.
and I've got
healthy. I'll watch. If not, I probably won't.
October the 13th. I got the Chargers and the 49ers. That'll be a decent game. Rematch in the 1994 Super Bowl. I've got Bengals Steelers. Should be good. I think Bengals Steelers should be decent. You know what?
No.
Murder.
Come on. If you like to watch blowouts, you can watch that one.
No, it won't be a blowout in Pittsburgh. Listen, we'll roll the tape in 6 months from now? We'll roll the tape and find out.
That has all the makings of a 17-16 final. Just an absolute.
That's why I think it'll be a competitive game. That's
Jamar Chase 2+ touchdowns in that game, maybe 3.
That still might mean it'll be a good game. I do not think anything of the Thursday night NBC game, which is the Patriots and the Vikings. I really could care less. Hopefully, I'll be at the movies on that day. The 27th, Packers Eagles.
Okay.
I think I think it's an okay game. I don't think it's like, I'm gonna all of a sudden. I'm not going to equate it to a Cindy Crawford poster like her prime. Okay, but that's a different discussion. December the 4th, Colts Cowboys. Yeah, solid. I wouldn't say like.
What week is that?
Week 13.
That's when the Cowboys start to collapse. That'll be fun.
So you think it'll be okay? You think it'll be an okay game?
Yeah, it'll be an okay game.
All right. So I got December 11th. I got the Chiefs and the Broncos. Yeah, that should be a good game. In Denver, that'll be a good game. Denver should be good now because they got a quarterback. Okay. 18th, Patriots Raiders.
The Josh McDaniels storyline is kind of cool, but
Now these games can be flexed. To be fair, as we
at
get
this
to
point
the
of the year,
we can get flexed. Christmas, I've got the Bucks and the Cardinals. I could see that being flexed.
I don't like the Cardinals this year. I don't know what it is. I don't like the Cardinals.
And I've got week 17, and of course 18 is to be determined because of obviously scenarios, which always happens. I've got the Rams and the Chargers. So yeah, I like that game. I like that game.
Should be good.
Let me go to the network games here, which I believe will be your I'll do those very quickly before we get to closing thoughts. So I've got here, where am I looking at? All I see here is Saturday night. I've got, which we have here at NFL Network. I've got also, we got the London games. I'll go to the London games here. I got Vikings and Saints, October 2nd. As much as I love the UK, I don't know if that's the most memorable matchup. Giants, Packers, October the 9th. I'm going to plead the fifth.
I like it because it at least gives the London fans a chance to see Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely. Listen, no
I'll take that angle on it.
I got.
Will it be much of a game? No.
November the 16th. I've got the Seahawks and the Bucks.
Okay, London gets to see Brady. Cool.
That was in like Germany, though, right?
It doesn't see.
Yeah. Yes, I think the Buck game is Germany.
It doesn't. Oh.
I believe so.
John Gonzalez says, my problem with the Raiders is Carr. I'm just not sold on him. Yeah, well, you know, that's a lot of quarterbacks. And then I got the Raiders.
$40 million a year.
Raiders and Steelers, I just went over. So let me go to the Thursday night games. Do I have those Thursday night games? Let me pull it up right here. I got the Thursday night NFL games. Go over those very quickly. Thursday night football schedule. Here we go. There we go. And I got a friend request from somebody that looks like a professional wrestler. That can wait for another time. Okay, so let's go with the Thursday night schedule here. I've got the Chargers and Chiefs. Thumbs up on that one.
Absolutely.
Steelers and Browns.
Ugh.
I like it.
It's just before after Deshaun Watson's back.
I'm with Justin. I kind of say thumbs up. Dolphins, Bengals. Boring.
No, Bengals are too talented.
Colts, Broncos.
Yeah, I like
terrible.
A lot of horses.
Now this is a game. It's a mulligan. Total mulligan. Commanders and Bears. Whatever you do, find something else to do that day.
Why?
Exactly. I got the Saints and Cardinals. Find something else to do. Ravens and Bucks. That'll be a good matchup. Find something else to do. Even though it's Chris, your Eagles at Texans. Find something else to do. John Gonzalez is Cardinals.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah.
Another
game, I got to be honest. I know we're on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, but the Falcons and Panthers, that could be the battle. Is that a battle for the number one pick? That's the battle for the number one pick.
It could be. That could be.
Tennessee and Green Bay.
Yeah, I like that.
I feel like Tennessee will have a good record, but get blown out in Green Bay.
Tennessee's always right. Tennessee's
right.
Buffalo and New England will be good because it's Buffalo and New England. I'll expect it to be, even if New England's not that good, I think it'll be a decent game. Raiders and Rams, I think. John Gonzalez, this will be a good game. I think for whatever reason, Las Vegas versus Los Angeles, that'll be good. 49ers, Seahawks. Pass. Jaguars and Jets.
Well,
and then
it's going to be good for our end because we hope
the Jaguars will be better.
And then I've got Tennessee and Dallas. It's not a bad game. Not a bad game. And
how about them Cowboys?
It's not a bad game. And John Gonzalez, last thought here. He says, "Where will Baker Mayfield wind up?" Anybody want to tackle that real quick before I move on here?
I'm going to say the Seahawks.
Okay.
I think he ends up not getting traded and tries to hold out, and then no one cares because it's Baker Mayfield, and that's the end of that.
I have another thought though. Even though my prediction is going to be Seattle, my real prediction is he starts all 17 games for the Browns this year.
Ooh.
Deshaun Watson will be suspended for the season.
I can see that.
For the whole season. Wow. Okay.
I think they'll take a stiff stance.
John Gonzalez says Falcons taking London at number 8. I'm still scratching myself. Well, I mean, I'm going to plead the fifth on the scratching comment. We are a family station, and I've gained about 100 followers. Well, I mean, he walked into it, man. Listen. I'm doing him a favor. All right,
I'm gonna only look at the first half of this.
Yeah,
we killed, and me especially. Last week when we recapped the NFL draft, I killed them taking Drake London at 8. It was the stupidest decision on earth. There's a reason why I gave him an F in the draft.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But John Gonzalez, I'm gonna take your comment off the thing because come up with a better comment here. Anything anybody else want to get off their chest from the NFL before I give an NBA score recap before we move on here?
Well, I do want. Well, it's not football, but I do want to give a quick hockey update. Dallas just extended the lead to 4-2 on an empty netter. That's going to go 7 games.
I'll tell you what. It seems like I may get the wish here. We'll have that would mean 1, 2, 3, 5 game sevens. Am I?
Yeah. The Capitals were the only team who could not force a game 7 out of the last couple.
So we'll
months.
have. Let's recap it. Carolina and Boston.
So
Rangers
tomorrow,
and
Carolina. So tomorrow, Carolina, Boston, Edmonton, Los Angeles, and one more tomorrow. Toronto, Tampa Bay.
That's the game I'm looking forward to most.
Boston, Carolina, 4:30. Tampa, Toronto at 7 p.m. And not reading that comment. LA, Edmonton, 10 p.m.
Is
Would
this
you like
the most
to read it,
game
Billy?
sevens
Sorry.
in one round? You think?
There's
I
5
think
game 7.
they don't have cap space. They don't have cap space for the draft class. They're not bringing in $21 million Baker Mayfield. They don't have their cap room for that. They don't have anybody to trade to create.
Maybe John Gonzalez knows everything. He knows everybody. He might know something that none of us know. But
And for Billy's sake, the official announcement is that Pittsburgh and the Rangers will be 7 p.m. Sunday.
Yep.
which is what you know. What that's what I would
Dallas-
have thought.
Dallas and Calgary, since this will end 4-2, even though there's now a brawl on the screen.
Yeah.
Um,
That'll be the
Nine.
9:30
It'll be
game.
9:30.
Okay, so that'll be. I'm assuming TNT will be the who carry the game.
Rangers get TBS and the ESPN2 for the
And then we've got Edmonton, Los Angeles tomorrow in
ESPN.
Edmonton, and we've got Tampa
Toronto,
Bay,
Tampa,
Toronto.
7 p.m. TNT, 4:30 Boston, Carolina, ESPN.
All right, so you know what? If you're a sports fan, that's a excellent combo. And
I'll be locked into probably all 5 game 7s.
real quick on the NBA, just to give us where we are, we're going to have a 7th game when it comes to Dallas and Phoenix yesterday. Obviously, Dallas blew out Phoenix. So, Brad, it looks like Brendan Fitzpatrick and his Dallas Mavericks very well may have a chance here to advance. Right now, we've got a doozy here in Golden State, 87-86 I have last I checked with the Warriors and Grizzlies. Boston defeated Milwaukee in Milwaukee 108-95 yesterday. So the NBA, we've got right now 2 game 7s, and we very well could have a 3rd game 7. And game 7 tomorrow is Boston and Milwaukee 3:30. That's in Boston. Brad, very quickly, game 7 tomorrow in that series. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to say this. I'll say this very clearly to all those that have continued to disrespect the Miami Heat. Stop doing it, and stop doing it right now, okay? Because they deserve so much credit for winning this series. And I know Justin couldn't be happier to see James Harden back on the streets, not in the playoffs. So that's the first thing I wanted to get off my chest. But in the other Eastern Conference series, the Bucks and the Celtics, I know the Bucks had a tough loss. And again, the Bucks stole Game 5 in Boston. Boston responded in Milwaukee. In Game 6, and Jason Tatum went off tonight, as well as his co-stars went off tonight, and Giannis had no one to help him tonight. But I think this game goes back to Boston, and Milwaukee wins Game 7 in Boston.
Yeah, they're the defending champions. It's hard to knock out a champion, so I wouldn't be.
I agree with Brad. I think Milwaukee takes Game 7.
And do we think that Golden State and Memphis goes to a Game 7?
No, I think Golden State finishes this out.
Okay.
I disagree. I think this is going to go to Memphis.
All right.
Okay. And then we have Phoenix, Dallas. Who do you guys like real quick in that one for the 7th game?
I need to know who's officiating that game, because if Scott Foster's officiating, then Dallas, please.
All right. And do we have 8 o'clock? We have 8 o'clock there tomorrow for that game. That's
Sunday. There's no basketball tomorrow.
Oh, okay. That's right. Okay, so we have that 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock is Dallas and Phoenix. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. That's on ESPN, and ABC's got Boston and Milwaukee. Is that how I read it?
Believe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I'm going to say this.
Maverick Suns will be on TNT at 8.
Okay, and then TBS is the Rangers. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so we've got
ABC
Phoenix
for Bucks Celtics 3:30.
that I figured, because that's always been this. Okay, so we got all that in there. Obviously, Miami also advances to the conference finals. Good job for them. We'll see if Boston can pull it off, or Milwaukee will continue their run as defending
Can I pose a
champions.
question to this crowd?
Sure, walk me through it real quick before I get close.
Why on earth did James Harden only take 2 shots in the second half? I mean,
That's less than Ben
Is there
Simmons did.
ever a player?
That's less than Ben Simmons did for them.
Is there ever a player
Wait, are you sure about that? He hadn't played.
than James Harden?
No, I'm saying for Philadelphia in the playoffs, the last time Ben Simmons was there, in the last game, he took more shots than James Harden did.
Yeah,
So,
that was going to say. That makes sense.
Justin, I'll answer the question quick here. It's embarrassing. I mean, I think I could go into an NBA game and shoot 3 shots, at least, and try to shoot 3 shots in a half. The fact that you're a superstar and you took 2 shots, you can't blame that on Doc Rivers. You can't blame that on a coach. You can't blame it on a player. You are a superstar. The ball's in your hands. You're the point guard. There is no way on this planet that you should take 2 shots and you should be satisfied with that.
Embiid's hurt and he's not playing effectively. Embiid was hurt. And look, I want to start by saying Joel Embiid has completely gained my respect because he went out there and he gave it his all. And
he had 2 injuries, 2 really tough injuries.
Yeah, and he was clearly ineffective. It clearly slowed him down. And you could tell. That's where James Harden has to step up and has to be. You're considered a superstar in the league. You're considered one of the best players of the league. Yet you go missing in the big games. It's an embarrassment. It's an honest embarrassment. And the city of Philadelphia should be ready to get rid of him already.
Well, they're going to certainly have a lot of decisions, no question, because that is a franchise that has certainly been snake bitten, you could say, when it comes to success in the postseason. Of course, they have not won an NBA championship since 1983 and have only been to the NBA Finals in 2001, which I remember very well with Allen Iverson, and he was pretty much got beat up to the point that he was really, by the time that series ended against the Lakers, he really wasn't the same player.
If I'm not mistaken, the Lakers won that.
They won the first game, I think, Philadelphia, and then the Lakers won the next 4 games, if I recall correctly. So that was the days of Dikembe Mutombo and Eric Snow. I think Theo Ratliff was on that.
I would have to say out of the 3, that was the best of the Shaq and Kobe championship teams.
I agree with you on that. That was
the 2000-2001 team. I think that was the best of the Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah, I agree with you that was the best of the 3 teams. I don't think that they were as good the first or the last, but that was kind of the peak Lakers run, and that was one of the worst teams I saw make the conference final of the NBA Finals in the Philadelphia 76ers. That just was not. They were just like terrible in terms of just there. But that's here nor there. We'll certainly recap all of that here next week. A lot to get into here. Another action-packed show on Sportswire Radio. So I want to get to some closing thoughts here. So let me go with Billy McInerney here first. Billy, always good to be with you. Congratulations on your New York Rangers. We'll see if you're a happy man on next week's show if the Rangers are playing hockey. Obviously, we'll get your perspective on that. Maybe if they win in advance, stay tuned for that. But I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to say? And can't thank you enough, my friend, and fire away.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, you can catch me on Twitter at WMCINE. And I mean, closing thoughts, look, the Rangers – they got to clean up a little bit in the defensive zone. They got to use their speed to their advantage, but they've definitely got a legitimate shot at beating the Penguins in Game 7 and pushing into round 2.
They definitely do. And, of course, we can follow Billy McInerney on Twitter at WMCINE. And looking forward to all that. And we'll definitely enjoy speaking some more hockey. Shout out to Randy Dillon who came on. And poor Randy Dillon, because he was the Capitals fan. And that poor friend of ours is gonna, I don't know how he's sleeping. Trust me, I've been there.
The one team that couldn't quite get the series 7,
and they won the first game of that series too, and they could have very well been up 3-1 in that series as well. So they really, one goal, one play makes a difference, and that's why the Capitals are packing once again here. And John reminds me that the Sixers haven't been in anything since Dr. J. Well, that's when they won.
That's it's their last championship.
That's what I said. I mean, they had the 1 year with Iverson, and other than that, they really haven't had much success in the postseason. So that's kind of been their MO here. But whether it's these teams they've had now or those teams even with Iverson and then later on with Chris Webber and whoever else they had. I think Jerry Stackhouse was on those early teams, and that's the gist of it. But Chris, I want to give you the floor, give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug? I enjoyed the Liftoff Jet Show this week. I enjoyed the Talking Rivals. Looking forward to some more content from you, I'm sure, next week. So I want to give you the floor. Anything you want to plug, and I can't thank you enough, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tom. Great show, guys, as always. Hanging out with you guys. We should have a Talking Rivals show Monday. I might get a liftoff show also Monday. We might even get it to you on Sunday. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, might get a little bit early, but
I appreciate the content because I'm live all throughout next week. So the more new content that I get out of the way now and gets to me by Sunday or Monday means I don't have to worry about restocking it in during the week. So that's good news for me. Win-win-win for all of us.
All right, so hopefully we'll get them out for you earlier.
No big deal.
Should be good. You can follow both shows on Twitter at Talking Rivals and at Liftoff Jets, and also my personal account at CP7NY as well.
Excellent work. Also, shout out to Sharman Phillip. Also, Andrew Golden. Andrew, really love Andrew. You've had Andrew. Andrew should almost be like a part of the team. You've had him, like 4 or 5 different times now? I'm pretty sure, something like that. You've had him
a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, Andrew's a great guest. So I love hearing Andrew's perspective. He does a great job with his own show. Also, a part of the Belev Sports Network, Believe Sports, and whatever they call it, and I think it's BLEAV. They call it Believe, but it's BLEAV Sports Network. So shout out to him. Also, Talking Rivals, TalkingRivals.com. We can catch content from you guys. Also, your YouTube page. Subscribe to the Talking Rivals page. Of course, you can catch them on the Northeast Streaming Sports channel here as well. And Justin, I want to give you the floor, give you some closing thoughts, anything you want to plug, anything baseball banter related as well. And I can't thank you enough. And the floor is yours, my friend.
All right, thank you for having me on once again. All right, looks like Golden State's going to close this thing out 105-92 with 2:57 to go.
Wow, that game changed real fast. It was 89-87, and then all of a sudden
we have an 18-3 Warriors run.
Wow.
And the Splash Brothers are making noise. So Golden State into the conference final. Baseball banter, we'll hit you up again over the weekend with a new episode. Get some more thoughts on the Astros for certain, because they are certainly a hot team to discuss. You know, the last episode was spent a lot focusing on more teams like the Yankees and Angels, but I want to, look at some of the other teams that are making some noise right now. So you can follow the Twitter account at bballbantersm. My personal Twitter is at jgianelli12.
All good stuff there. Looking forward to that. I always enjoy the baseball banter. The show, a little shorter show here earlier this week, but still,
a little bit shorter.
Well, that's good because I got to listen to it a couple different times, and I'll listen to it tomorrow morning. So that'll be great. And thank you for all you do for us, Justin. We'll have a Lyndhurst Bears update here in a second after we get I can't say it's the best for last, but it's definitely the biggest for last. And we know the drill here. That is the brute force Brad Weiss, who is going to always have, I know, brute-like closing thoughts, always entertaining closing thoughts. Looking forward to this one. I'm sure he's got a lot on his plate here, so he knows the drill by now at this point. So I turn it over to you, my friend.
Yeah, Tom, thank you for another great week of the show. Thank you, Justin, Chris, Billy, for another great week as well. A lot of fun. Looking forward to another great one next week. Of course, you guys can find me on Instagram at BWeiss20, on Twitter at BradWeiss20, and searching Bradley Weiss on Facebook. So a lot of great stuff to get into. I'll first give a belated happy birthday to SJLI player and also a great coach for the Long Island Sound, and that's Ryan McNeely. His birthday just recently passed. I'll give him a happy birthday here on the show. He's a great supporter of ours, so it definitely deserves a birthday wish here on the show.
Did you message him like I did before we went on the air?
I did not message him, but this is his great shout out. So I did lie.
Fair enough.
So I definitely gave him what I got to do. Of course, I want to give a shout out as well to my beloved Plainview Hawks. Our varsity baseball team is going to be in the playoffs against Port Washington this week, led by a Division I standout pitcher. He's going to go to Albany next year and be amazing. And Dylan Banner, he was also an all-state basketball player for our Plainview Hawks, who made it to the championship this year. So special talent, Jacob Goldfarb also. Both of them have thrown like 3 or 4 no-hitters this season. So
they've got a no-hitter update in a minute, so you'll be wanting to hear that as well. So
they've been unbelievable. Looking forward to seeing them in the playoffs. Really excited about that. I'm also excited that number one, speaking of Kyle Supran, who came on the show, we will be playing Brew Crew softball this summer. And I'm really excited to be a part of that. We got some new additions to the team, some subtractions, but we know we're going to be excited to play once again here in the summer. So I'm looking forward to that. But our first summer game is this Sunday. I will not be there, because I'm going to be doing a really cool combine for the Long Island Nets. We're going to be taking high school players, and we're going to be doing almost like an NFL combine version of an NBA combine almost for the Long Island Nets for these high school players. Going to evaluate them, do some really cool things. We'll have it on social media, so follow the Long Island Nets at Long Island Nets. I'll be a part of it. It's certainly really exciting stuff on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that, as well as my games with Level Up. I'm wearing my Level Up Your Game shirt. You can get your own merchandise. Go to levelupbasketball.com or so follow Level Up at
And
Level
Jesse Winter, we have to give a shout out to Winter Fresh on Instagram as well. He follows me, so certainly.
Yeah, Jesse's the great organizer, the guy who runs the whole ship with Level Up, and he does a great job. So I want to give him a great shout out as well. So thank you guys once again, and I'll say one last thing. For all our great supporters on Sportswire Radio, you're going to be excited as well. Week 15, Jets, Lions. Tune in to Sportswire Radio because we're going to bring it here to you. Week 15, 1 o'clock. We're going to have that for you on Sportswire Radio. Myself, John Gonzalez, amongst others, will have that. Tom, I'm really excited for this. I mean, that's going to be a big game in Week 15. So I'm looking forward to Lions, Jets here on Sportswire Radio. That's going to be the primetime game in them all, Tom Rice.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to being on the call. I'm looking forward to bringing that here to everybody on Sportswire Radio and all of our platforms. Certainly, that is going to be the game of the season. That is going to be the day to be here with us on all of our great platforms, and especially sportnarium.com/play, because, listen, all these people I see that they stream their stuff, well, why can't we do it at Sportswire? So I'm looking forward to all of that. Of course, shout out to John Gonzalez of the Sports Authorities Group as well, 4,000 members strong, and also want to give Ryan McNeely a very happy birthday. And Ryan has obviously been a huge part of our SJLI-NY Golden Eagles men's basketball program. He was really a big part of that win against Yeshiva, a big part of the season, the team's success. Really was one of those players, and I hope he keeps the flow. I continue to remind him to keep the flow. He's also a big part of the tennis team. Also want to give a shout out to his father, Ryan McNeely Sr., always liking and following his stuff. His mother also, Lori, hoop mom as well. What a beautiful family. They do so much for the community. Of course, Ryan is on his way to being a great coach as well. Looking forward to the season hold with him. You can follow the men's basketball team. It's still SJC MBB on Instagram, SJC_MBB. So all great stuff there. But speaking of no-hitters, and there was one actually today involving Justin Gianelli, your former baseball program, the Lyndhurst Golden Bears. And what a way for our Golden Bears to bounce back here and get another nice win here. A 10-0 win here against Leone here. And Anthony Pizzuti here, I got to tell you something. He definitely, not only does he hit, but he pitches pretty well. And get this here, ladies and gentlemen, 56 pitch no-hitter. You talk about no-hitters, right? 120 pitches, 100. Johan Santana, right?
7 innings, that's efficient.
56 pitches.
For 7 innings. Was it 7 innings?
5. I got 5 here on the.
Okay, that's okay. Makes sense.
Well, he's got 5 innings here because I'm assuming it's the 10-run mercy rule here. But 56 pitches in 5 innings. I mean, listen, 56 pitches.
That's good. That's real good.
No hitters are 90, 110, 120. Oh, and by the way, he only goes 2 for 3 with 2 singles. He knocks in a run. And he does it all here. Again, Shohei Ohtani, move on out of the way. Rick Ankiel, move on out of the way. Mike Hampton, move on out of the way. Babe Ruth, move on out of the way. I'm thinking of all the great /hitter pitchers. And Anthony Pizzuti definitely got our boys back on track here. Also, some big stars here. Vinny Arteri once again scores 2 runs for us, gets a single. Also, Matteo Morelli was big for us here throughout the week. Had a couple of big hits throughout the week. Ben Nowinski was 2 for 2 with 2 runs batted in, also had 2 singles. Michael Rizzo also, not only does he pitch, he hits great for us, knocks in 2 runs, and he scores a run, also has a double. So a very impressive performance. Great way to get back on track. We're back in action here on May the 18th, 4 o'clock at New Milford. We're also in action on May the 20th against Harrison. So excited about all that things here for the program. Very, very excited to see we're 12-7. Quite a run here. Had a tough loss, but certainly got back on track here and did that and some with another no-hitter. And, of course, if you like what you hear from the Lyndhurst Golden Bears, baseball team, please follow them on Twitter at baseball_LHS22. That's baseball_LHS22. I want to thank Michael Rizzo and, of course, Vinny Auteri for following us on Instagram and Twitter. I want to thank them for all of their support, obviously, for the program, everything that they do. Also want to thank Coach Auteri. Please follow Coach Auteri also on Twitter as well, at PA_22_. Make sure you follow him. Also give a little bit of a plug to the Complete Performance Baseball Academy that he's involved in. Also do that CPB Academy. That's CPB Academy also on Twitter. So thank you, Coach Auteri, for all of your support. And before we get out of here, I also want to thank everybody that's tuned in on Sportswire Radio throughout the week. It was really, I think, the biggest week we've had on Sportswire Radio between all of our social media channels and sportnarium.com/player. I want to thank, obviously, personally, Culverly Championship Wrestling. I want to thank GTM. I want to thank KOW, LWF. I want to thank Odyssey Pro Wrestling. I want to thank BTW. I want to thank the Williams Advancement Agency and Michael Williams for supplying us all these wonderful, beautiful people. And John Gonzalez says, the brute force, all of Detroit salute you. Week 15, that'll be, my friend, we'll be on the call. We'll have a lot of that. But I just want to take the time to thank everybody that watched and tuned in, had our biggest week here in the history of the station. So, John, thanks us for the great work. So I just wanted to take the time to thank everybody here. We'll be back Monday night, all week throughout Sportswire Radio. We'll be back with a whole list of wrestling personalities. So I'll get to that throughout the weekend, but I know it's getting late here. So I just want to thank everybody that is tuned in here on Sportswire Radio. One more time, I want to wish a happy birthday to Ryan McNeely. I also want to wish Anthony Finkel a very happy birthday upcoming for May the 28th, because we'll have the Marine Park birthday celebration there at the golf course there. And certainly, I don't know, I think that's the first time I would be at the golf course, all those years passing by Flatbush Avenue. But we'll find out then. In the meantime, we are with, and Carlos Chavez is tuning in. Says, good job, peeps. Thank you, Carlos, for all of your support. Thank you, everybody that's hung in here with us. I want to thank everybody on sportnarium.com/player. You'll get an all-new sit-down Mark show if you're on all of our Facebook channels, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. You'll also be back with us tomorrow night on the Roku Northeast Streaming Sports Channel. You'll be with Tobacco Road Sports Radio. We'll also be on there tomorrow afternoon, 2:30. So thank you, everybody, and Desmond Johnson for tuning in. So in the meantime, we're with Billy McInerney of Elite Sports, Chris Pizzea of the Liftoff Jets and the Talking Rivals, Justin Gianelli of the Baseball Banter Show, and, of course, the brute force Brad Weiss, the legendary SJLI now New York Golden Eagle, of course, our Plainview JFK Hawks boys JV team, and the Long Island Nets Level Up and the LI Brew Crew. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. Thank you, everybody, again. Can't thank you enough for tuning in, watching throughout the week. Just a phenomenal week for Sportswire Radio. Going to try to top it next week. Have so many people lined up throughout the week. We've got college basketball to talk about, pro wrestling. We've got some other talk throughout the week. And, of course, we'll be back here Friday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Also want to thank the winner of Rob Maraska's contest, Ray Melliott. We'll have that up also. So thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Enjoy your weekend. Good night. And we'll be back here on Sportswire Radio Monday afternoon, U.S. time, Monday evening, UK time. Thank you and good night.